It's now up 7%. It's trying to break the high again. It's just been consolidating up here. It dipped once into the volume weighted average price. That's a fail for not. Well, I mean, you had to be watching the stock, which wasn't on the top list of stocks to be watching. It was like 5th or 6th for me, but it does bounce nicely off VWAP. Maybe it does that again for another opportunity out there. We're going to hopefully enjoy some Greek food with not a Greek salad and send you guys to the midday. It is the Professor and Joey Options.
Tell them. Tell them what it is. Boom.
I'm sailing away. Oh man, I'm looking at a cruise, my boy.
Oh,
what's going on, beautiful people?
Is that why you're asking me about it?
Yes, sir. Welcome to the Midday Show. That's your boy Joey Options, and I'm Sharif.
Let's do a transaction for the people right here.
Transaction.
So that you get the
you're gonna punch a little bit out, eh? All right. Wet your beak super quick.
See, come on. Let's see if we can catch that fill.
You're gonna catch it. Don't worry. It's coming. Here, it's coming. Let's say hello to everybody, though. Let's shout out Bet Trading. We got iGrow Fighting, Tisha, Perkins, Mike PD Ryder. We got Dino. We got a proper dang Paradox. You're back, man. I haven't seen you in a minute. Maybe I'm just missing your name, but Loco Trades. We got the Donkey Trader, Bastone, Sana. Something, man. We got New Loon. Shout out to Donovan Henry and Shadow 7S7. Sit and Spin. We got Benton C. It is all this. We're back 6 points clear of City. City can't hang, bro. We got Robert Lewis, Ryan O'Day, Big 40 Nephew, Angry Rob Entertainment. Shout out to Jordy VWAP and Sahil. We got DAP 711, Mr. Janky Stock, Grandmother's Garden. We got Pizza Gang, Kittner Boy, Brandon Cycle, and that hit that wick. I like that. Hit that wick. Who else, man? LMD Network. We got Dabba Dabba Doo, Leroy, Duran Gordon, Danny Day Trizzy, and Pizza Pie. Good morning to everybody, Joseph. Good morning to you.
Yeah, it's good morning, everyone. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. A lot of entertaining stuff going on, that's for sure. Crypto sliding. We're getting some downwards price action here this morning in silver. A masterclass put on by Shakur Stevenson. Remains featherweight champion. So a lot going on here. But aside from that, guys, let's talk a little bit about these markets. A little scalp. There was an error made on my behalf right here on Tesla. I went to punch a certain amount of size, and then I look at what I got filled. I made a mistake there, and sure enough, I only had 10% of what I wanted. So we get a nice little add up pop, and then it eventually comes into my break even. So we're not worried about that whatsoever. But let's head over to what we have been cooking on here today, and that is going to be silver to the downside once again. So 73 short, roughly 72.94. And then we take that all the way down to 68.50. I am sitting on approximately 40% of my remaining position with a price target of around $68 to be exact. But let's go over what we're looking at here today. Am I thinking Palantir short up here? Yeah, I am actually, to be honest with you. Same with the Nasdaq. You're slowly starting to get a curl over here. NVDA did pop right back up into roughly 190, but we know that there's a lot of supply zone in the 90s. We see a little bit of a rejection on that front. Tesla, once again, we take that opportunity, but forming this bull flag here or ascending wedge, whatever you would like to call it, you get that break up. You unfortunately can't break through some of those pre-market highs, and then you come right back into the volume-weighted average price. So keep an eye on those names. A nice little rebound here from that $68 mark roughly in SLV, bumping up $1.30 right now up to $69.28. Regardless, 40% left. I mean, once again, 68 is my final target, but those are the 4 or 5 names that we have on our radar this morning.
All right, man, let's get right down to work. Here is what I'm looking at. I've got 7 names that I'm interested in. A couple are holdovers. You'll see ZSL or ZSL. Shout out to my American friends out there. It's continuing to go. This is one that we certainly were all over on Friday, and we were involved in it when it did this. This 125 candle that lost every single level, that was real. That was a real print. And a lot of people got caught offside there. Now, mind you, it recovered, ended up making new intraday highs. But maybe, I was telling Neil over the weekend, maybe that was a sign of things to come because like 3-4 candles on the 5-minute chart later, all hell broke loose to the downside, down into 215. So ZSL holding higher lows. And I believe, yes, making higher highs above the highs of Friday. Those highs were to the dot $2.80. And Assassino just let me know in my ear, he's going to be very upset if you guys are not liking and subscribing. We still have 22% of you guys that are watching that are not subscribed. So, you know, it's a free country, or countries, wherever you're from, but we would be infinitely in your debt if you could hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, let the algorithm.
You got to pay tax out
You got to pay tax. Well, we're taxed everywhere, Joey. I don't want to get into that again and start getting emotional and angry.
Yeah.
But let's move on from that. Let's cut the crap, Joey. CatX, we were all over, not Friday, but Thursday, because CatX did this on the left side of your screen on Thursday, and here it comes again. Now, we did have a high of around 617. But I'll submit to you guys the real level was a resistance of $6 because it spent almost no time there. And in fact, no closing prints on the 5-minute chart above 6. But here it comes again, and I really do mean that. 51% in the Ville of Green, 584 high, getting well extended from that 10 EMA on the 5, which just happens to overlap with that $5 whole dollar psychological area support or resistance. That's where the 10 EMA is showing, but the price is far removed from that. 584 up 53%, and looking to take out highs. It is very strong. It is very aggressive. I see Fuse. Shit, thank you. Zen Zombie for the $2 super chat. Thank you very much, my friend. FUSE is already on the side chart. But this one, I think OB would say it's holding structure. Entertain me for a sec. Look at this. 2 2/3 clear area of resistance, whether you're looking at 810, 815, again at 845, yet again at 855, and even yet again at 930. But all hell breaks loose at 940. We clear it, and we clear it decisively, going up to 3 2/3. Forget about that 2 2/3. Lo and behold, though, it sells off, true to form with these small cap gappers, holds a key area of technical support. What is that? Well, it happens to be bouncing off that white line. If you know that white line, you've been watching for a while, that is always the volume weighted average price on my charts. But it's also 270, right around that 2 2/3. So I love when this happens, when a key area of price action, resistance or support overlaps with another key area of indicator, technical resistance or support. So I'm very interested over here. Now, that's the good news. What's the bad news about this FUSE? Well, it's certainly got resistance at 3, Joseph Options, because it's wicking above 3, having really a hard time closing anything above 3. It's also, you know, undecided, I should say, about, you know, the trend. Some candles breach prior candle high, some don't. It's not making, you know, that very clear lower high, lower high, lower high setup, lower low, lower low. No, it's not doing that. It's a little sporadic, so you need to be alive to that, because if you're going to place your stops at where you think price is going to hold up based on prior bar or prior 2 bars, think again. This one's zigging, it's zagging. Try to catch it when it's hot, so to speak. There's a whole bunch of others. AXTI, another holdover from Friday. You can see we were trading this monster right from the get-go. This one suffered from one affliction, though, that it couldn't recover from on Friday, the lower high situation. That's kind of why I drew that trend line there, because I wanted to get into it once it broke that lower high. Now, alas, that didn't happen. It ended up giving up VWAP. Today, let's see if it sings a bit of a different tune. It's got another good day under its belt, having closed on Friday at 18.5, showing me a $22.20 high. Zigging and zagging with that whole dollar level right now at 22s. I used to ride on 22s.
Oh.
So I'm just keeping my eye on that one. We're going to look to punch into some of these Joey CatX, looking like it's bleeding its own blood right now.
All right, man. Nice looks there. Yeah, I got my small cap scan up as well, too. DKI and Fuse at the top of the list for me. 140 million shares and 129 million shares traded on today, respectively. Here is SLV. You're down another 7%, but starting to get a little bit of a bounce here. So you get a $1.65 move right there off of that 68.50 low. So things are looking pretty good right now for silver. Once again, I am short. $68 was going to be my final target. Doesn't look like we're going to get that just yet. This move may be sustained, and some strong engulfing prints right now. Yeah, Assassino, pull up the super chat there, my friend, and see what we got going on. Was there Tesla news? Why relative pullback?
There is the Elon merging news that we talked about this morning. It's more likely than not now that apparently it's going to be an XAI, again, all speculative, XAI and SpaceX merger prior to the IPO. So, I mean, that's not directly correlated or relevant to Tesla in a technical sense, but it's Elon Musk adjacent, so it has a way of doing that. But I don't know. Well, you know, Tesla was also being floated around as a possible merger candidate, so maybe the fact that XAI is taking it away from Tesla, the market feeling negatively about that, unless there's a different Tesla headline.
Yeah. No, yeah, from
Why are you
Friday.
laughing?
Because merger.
Merger?
Yeah,
What?
we're talking merger.
Or,
you
I don't know
from,
that.
man.
No? Semi-pro?
Semi-pro, when the Flintropics might merge into the NBA. Yeah. It's a joking merger, man. Yeah, you wouldn't know because like they're obviously like there's no name basketball team and they think that they're going to the NBA.
Oh,
so
and
we're talking merger.
we're talking practice?
Yeah.
No, and let's just let's get it out in the open right now. There was more Epstein files released over the weekend, and your friend Elon there was named in them. Now he took to X to kind of try to point the finger at other people. He said that Reid Hoffman was trying to get him to come on Epstein's island. I don't know. Anyway, I don't try to follow. I tried my very best not to follow that, but sometimes it's in your face. And
same.
So anyway, that was in the weekend. That could have something to do with it.
Yeah. All I seen was just Prince Andrew, obviously up to more shenanigans, and then your boy Bill Gates as well too. Anyways, aside from that, guys. Yeah. I mean, anyways, that guy's long gone, and rightfully so. All right, let's get right back in here. A nice big time bounce here in silver. Let's see if we're gonna curl over once again and maybe head a little bit lower, or that's it. We may not see any more selling. I am holding on to 40% more of this, so this is a little bit of a tough pullback to sit through. I mean, you go with $2 right back to the top side, which isn't fun. But anyways, aside from that, we still had a pretty good trade on that one. We'll go 2 for 2 on the morning. We're not gonna complain. We'll be patient and wait for other things to come into play if there is. The Nasdaq short might be a decent one. NVDA is starting to form somewhat of a hammer candle right at the volume weighted average price. Your L could be roughly just below this. So it's either it breaks up, you go and test this previous pre-market high and then that high of the day. If not, if it breaches just a little bit below the volume weighted average price, you just get out, give it a buck or so, and then hasta la vista, baby, on that one. But silver now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 15 straight minutes of buying pressure here in silver. Oh, I got to show you guys something hilarious. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or anything, but well, it's actually not that funny, but it's funny when you're on the outside looking in. So metals trader loses at least $144 million on Friday. Jose sent me this from the algo room, and then bro decided to flee China after that. I would probably flee China as well too if I lost $144 million. I think it's something around how many, I mean, it's a lot of cash, man. So bro had to get up and get out of there immediately because I'm sure he's going to be in a lot of trouble. But as for Palantir, we're not doing too much, right? Like this pre-market price action, we were strong. And we mentioned this time and time again. Typically, when you have a strong pre-market move, you're going to see a little bit of selling right out of the gate or move back in towards the volume weighted average price. And that has been the case here. So keep an eye out. It may break up. Risk profile is defined around $149.75. I would be looking to get out of Dodge if you are thinking long here on Palantir. But silver, a big time rebound, guys. This is what I'm talking about. These pullbacks can get extremely annoying, but we've been positioned relatively well. A couple more dollars. We won't complain about it, but 68 was going to be my final. I would have released at least 75% of my position. Now at this point, it's either a reload or I'm going to get stopped out break even. And I have a feeling that I have that little bit of a hunch that we might get stopped out break even. Why? Because look at the volume really start to pick up here to the buy side and just the consecutive buying stepping in. So 15 minutes straight to the northeast. And if we don't reject VWAP, then who knows what can happen? It can break and climb a little bit higher. So that might be the bottom in on SLV.
All right, man. We're in a couple of positions here. Let me just get into this. Is Amex, yeah. So I'm trying to get back. I'm trying to work my way into CADEX. But there goes Fuse. Fuse is breaking out. We got 10s on. We just wet the beak there at the $0.25. FUSE. Here it comes again. Let's go ahead now. Set up at the third. Crap! I didn't get enough shares initially, man. Third, and then we're gonna have to set up at the fourth. I was expecting this one to zig and zag, man. I wasn't ready for this one to break out fully. I was trying to build my position into it. Dang it. Anyway, whatever. We're going to have to deal with the shares that we have here. $0.25 zigging, zagging. There is resistance at the $0.25 though, just based upon like that 2-3 candle setup from 9.55 till 10.10. So let's watch to see if it can clear the $0.25. Then the $0.50, we're looking at resistance, and then the high a day, obviously, which is 67s. 67. Boom. Wow, Joseph. It took out all my orders. Into $0.50 we go, and I'm out of shares now. Simple as that. Dang it. Okay, so we're going to have to figure out another way to work in here. Watching, I'm going to have to flip to the 5-second chart so that I can spot areas of local support and resistance. Looking for a 330 dip, 330 flat top. Looking for a move there. Here comes 330. Got in here at 330. Looking to defend into 320. So that's what we're going to do. Looking for that kind of continuation. So we have 31s on. Let's go ahead and throw that order in now so that we remove the subjectivity from this. So showing me mid 30s, 33, 35, looking for continuation into the high 30s. I saw some resistance at the third of a dollar, like 330. This is on the 5-second chart. So you never really know, obviously, whether that's going to hold up. It looks like it's losing it. Right back up into the mid 30s, looking for continuation now into the high 30s. We're not immediately getting it. So it looks like we're going to have to either pack our patience or we're going to get stopped out if this one breaks down. I was trying to get into CATX, man, because this one dipped into VWAP. Then I saw Fuse taking off, and CATX now is like, jeez, man, it's like 50 pennies removed off the low, so I didn't get an opportunity to get into this one, but it was a great VWAP hold just south of 5, rockets right back into 5.25. It is still suffering from that same affliction, though. It's been suffering from that topping tail candle at 11.05, which is lower highs. So you need to be you need to be careful getting in here to CATX, because it may not be done bleeding its own blood at the moment. So we're going to have to see exactly what this one has to offer. So waiting here on Fuse, looking for a hold of a third of a dollar and a move back up, possibly into that 40, 50 penny area. It was a quick price spike up, but it didn't clear that $0.50, right? So that $0.50 is my next level of technical resistance, given the implied balance high at 945 and 950, those candles there, they both close south of the $0.50. So I'm going to keep my eye out on that. And then I got back into ZSL. We're doing it live on this one. We got 67s on this. Let's what the beak at 71. Then we're going to set up in the mid 70s as well. And then if we can get something even in the high 70s, we'll pack the patience there. My move here on ZSL, it loses 60, I'm out. Reason is, I see prior area of resistance at 60. That's from the pre-market, right around 820, 825, double top into 60. So if it holds up there, which is above the volume weighted average price, by the way, which is at 55, 54, then it keeps me as a trader. If it doesn't, I'm out. Simple as that. So that's what I'm looking at, Joey, looking for Fuse to continue into the high 30s, low 40s, now having gotten more. And then looking for ZSL. Here comes Fuse again. It takes out my order, and then it drops aggressively. Watch out here. Fuse could end up being a topping tail candle. It was a price spike up to 50, took out all my orders, and then an aggressive sell order came in. What happened there? Oh, printed me, then it stopped me out. Okay, I'll get back in. What do you got?
All right, good stuff there. Yeah, Rohin, brother. I mean, I was buying, like when I first started buying IBIT was right at the IBIT offering, or IPO, whatever you would like to call it. And then we're essentially right back at those levels right now. So yeah, it is kind of garbage that we give back X amount of unrealized, I told you. And it's been dead money to this point now. Because we're right back to where we started initially. So if we go slightly negative, it's nothing for me to get out and then just hope that we get a little bit of a better price than the actual IPO. So yeah, it is what it is. Bitcoin is extremely volatile. You give back a lot of gains. You're gonna have to sit in this for a couple years, right? So maybe we can bounce back a little bit faster, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. There's obviously something going on behind the curtains. I think there's a set price that these guys want to start slowly turning the price action around at, but we don't know that. So here it is on SLV, guys. getting that rebound. We did get a move back into 70.50, now starting to come back in. Let's see how we react around the volume weighted average price. I think that's going to be a big inflection point, and if we do reject and head a little bit lower, if there's some big signs of indecision, then maybe we can rock and roll with an ad here on SLV. But yeah, Gaurav, nice work on NVDA as well too, my brother. Nice print on the 5-minute candle at 88.30s. You're now pumping up to $89. Not a horrible look whatsoever. And then as for Palantir, I'm thinking consolidate and then maybe a curl over and a break of that 150. But what we want to do here is catch the top end of the range, right? Like, I don't want to sell the support and then have to have like a lengthy risk to reward ratio. I think that's really important to note. RR is extremely important. If I'm in at the top end of the range, I could give it to the pre-market high, because then that's when I know I'm essentially wrong. You have a break of certain levels and then you get out of the position, opposed to me getting in at the lower 150s, and then I have to give it $1.40. We want to keep that RVR as tight as we possibly can, all right? So that's what we got going on. A nice break up there in silver. Looks like we're going to rebound here, guys, but the volume slowly starting to cool off on the lower time frames. P Pro 8, volume weighted average price slightly different than what we got going on TWS. So we'll see if it breaks that and the volume does start to kick in, then we'll have to get out. I mean, that's $4 or roughly $3 now of ITM that we give back, with 40% of our position remaining. So a nice hefty strong pullback. After this, I knew that we were in a little bit of trouble. So we'll see what we got going on. Break even or bust. $68 is going to be my target. Indecision prints at or above the volume weighted average price. We look to get back in full size, and then maybe we can get that move a little bit lower. But considering at those lows, we were down 7%, and over the past couple of sessions, we're down substantially, right? So about a bounce here, I'm not surprised by whatsoever. Now, do we go with the flow with Palantir? This is what I kind of want to dig into a little bit more. We want to stick with strong names, but the pre-market pump is essentially what's kind of swaying me away, but it does look like it wants to hold that 150 mark and then potentially break a little bit higher. So we'll keep our eyes on this one. If the volume does pick up on the LTFs, then maybe we add at the break, but once again, inverse of what I was talking about earlier, if we were thinking short, we want to get in at the higher end of the range, but if we're thinking long, we obviously want to get in at the lower end of the range as well too. So we'll keep that in mind. What we will do is head over to our options chain on silver to see what we got cooking over there, Shreve, because I don't know what we got going on. I brought 2 options contracts to you guys this morning, and I thought that was going to be the range. And I mean, 168, our other strike was 70, right? And then our other one was around $80, so a $10 spread right there. We don't want that 11-day expiration cycle. We're going to head over to February 9th. That's 7 days. Let's get a little bit closer to the 6th this Friday. So again, 147% at the money IV. You're already starting to see somewhat of a cool down, but I wanted to look at that $68 mark. Is there anything substantial in why we're bouncing off of that specific zone? I mean, 2004 contracts there. Nothing substantial on 40, sorry. And then we have 1,550 that have been opened and closed. Let's see if we reject those zones. And now as for that $76 mark, I'm going to be calling this as a potential top here in SLV. So it might be a supply zone, and you might also get that magnet effect up into that level. But what you want to do is, if you're not short now, look how price reacts around that specific strike price, and then sure enough, you might be able to find a downside move. But silver continuing to grind a little bit higher here.
Yeah, I got stopped out of ZSL, guys. So ZSL is not tradable for me until that 255, 254. That's a volume weighted average price. It ended up breaking down below the 10, below the 20, so not the one for me. But I've worked in to a couple of new trades. I haven't got anything into CADX yet. I'm still waiting for that one to break trend, but I'm very interested in working into CADX. Fuse, I'm building up a position around $3. I'm looking for a hold here of the general area low. So that's a bottoming tail candle that happened on the 5-minute chart at 1105, the low of which is 281. So it has to hold that level. Otherwise, it's going to have to set up at the volume weighted average price at 274, 275. And then I'm not just going to get in if it dips into VWAP. It's got to show me the first 5-minute candle to make a new high and show me that the buyers are starting to get back in control. Because right now, topping tail candle, gets me, you know, definitely out of the money. Well, we're only out of the money by a couple of pennies, but I'm definitely looking for a move into 3. I've got my orders resting there above 3 to catch a nice move up, but nothing happening quite yet. I've also worked into AQST, which is what I replaced ZSL with. AQST seems to be finding generally here some support at the 10 EMA. I'm going to give it to the 11:05, 11 a.m. candle low on the 5, the low of which is 417.5. So I'm going to give it to 416. I'm looking for a break of trend and a move back in to that kind of 4 1/3, maybe even 4.5 if I get lucky. It's up 42% and it's on the Nasdaq. We're going to pause for a second. We got to go to the big desk.
Yeah, we do have some news here, guys. VRRM, not a ton of volume on this move, about 400,000 shares traded on the day, but I do think it's worth watching here because Washington Post reporting that the Trump administration saying it'll be limiting funds for speed cameras. Now, I did Google this Vera Mobility, and they do have a speed enforcement solution section on their website, so they're very much active in that field. Again, speed cameras stocks, including VRRM, on watch here after Washington Post reports that the Trump administration will be limiting funds for speed cameras. Back to you.
Where did they do that?
Take them all.
Where did they do that?
Not here.
Not here.
Not here.
Not here.
Not here.
Big
man.
Dougie wouldn't do that.
I need to do paralegal, man. I gotta fire my guy, I think.
What happened?
I told you my memory.
Yeah.
They got video evidence of me on
They got
here.
video?
But you can't even see me. Like, you can't even see, and I'm stopped, too.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm stopped.
Challenge it.
Yeah.
Challenge.
Challenge.
No, but we were plagued with
The video
speed
of the
cameras
speed camera.
everywhere.
I love the good old-
There's a running gag in Toronto that basically they put up new ones and they just get cut down immediately, and it became hilarious. Was it funny because you know you're breaking the law and the taxpayer's on the hook for fixing it, obviously? But everybody hated these things. Well, most people. I can't speak for everybody, but most people hated these things, myself
Listen,
included.
I believe school zones, understandable.
Just
but
put speed bumps, force people to slow down.
Exactly,
You're going to force them
Why
that
don't we
way.
create some jobs and maybe get some construction boys out there putting up the speed bumps instead of putting up these cameras.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like put the roundabouts.
On the average street. Yeah, exactly.
Right?
You say roundabout.
When you have to go over a speed bump at 50 kilometers an hour and you pay for what comes from that, you'll think twice about speeding over that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, we our premier here, which is kind of like the Canadian equivalent of a governor, he got rid of him. He kiboshed it.
Let me ask you this: do you think the stock market is a zero-sum game? I know it's kind of random and all.
A lot of people say that it's not. I think when it comes to certain pairings, they are. So you know what I mean? Like when trades that are inversely correlated, like metals and the US dollar, it could be a zero-sum game for the most part.
Yeah.
But I would say generally no.
Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take into like all the minor details of everything, like fees and everything like that, no, it's not. It's
No.
I'm sorry, my friend.
It is what it is.
And that's my perspective, Philly, and that's your perspective. So, all right, guys, let's get right into things. Come on, I hold silver to the top side as Tesla's slowly starting to break down. There comes the short in Palantir. Doesn't like it want this ascending wedge that we got going on here. Doesn't look too good as we come right back into the lower end of this range. Somewhat of a head and shoulders pattern being formed here on the 5-minute in TSLA. Do we break down, guys? Resistance zone, right? Shoulder 1, head up here, your head top, and then boom, you break that, and now you're heading towards that neckline. Let's see what happens in Palantir. If the momentum really picks up, maybe we do have to sell a little bit of the lower support, right? Lower support there. But if Tesla doesn't want to and it continuously bounces off the volume weighted average price, maybe you get somewhat of a continuation. With that being said, Sharif, let's pull up the old chain gang and see what we got going on there. Oh, come on, silver, head back lower, my boy. All right, so guys, also look at the expiration cycles here now. Katina Man was saying you want to stick with the further dated. I agree. This is just a little bit more of a cash grab, in my opinion. Just adding more expiration cycles. The market makers are just licking their chops with the silly individual, or I shouldn't say that at all. People do have strategies that work for them and everything along those lines. But just be cautious, right? Like 0 DTE, but Tesla, and then now you have 2 days till expiration. Just be cautious of what we got going on. Now, as for our high, let's establish that here. 424, we'll call it 425. Nothing substantial there, but there's a lot of volume coming in at that 425 strike. Now, 420, obviously, the traders have to make a laugh about this one, 52,800 contracts. But as for a supply standpoint, we don't see anything until 450, and I don't think that's going to be anything to to hold us back, really. So I'm going to be looking long Tesla for the rest of the week. Maybe today's just one of those sessions where you're not going to see that extended move. We did get back the majority of it on Friday, which is understandable. But Tesla, maybe we start to think a little bit long. Now, as for Pleater, let's see what we got here on Palantir. 170 is where we're going to see a lot of this open interest sitting here. Guys, around 16,100 contracts there with 8,420 traded, open and closed on today's session. But let's see what we got going on, Ajara.
No, we're super chat. I got it.
Oh, sorry. I thought we said here.
Yeah, no worries. Let's have a look at AMD. I'm just trying to find my other chart. I don't know where it went. Okay, that's fine. We can just take any of these other ones. So thank you very much, first of all, to Robert Lewis, $10 super chat. Thank you very much, brother. Can you chart AMD, please? Let's take a quick look at AMD. What we got over here? Start with the daily. Great breakout today and recovery from weakness last week. Let's go to the daily first and foremost. So definitely holding that 200. That's immediately apparent. Triple bottom at that 200. Sort of a pseudo double top into 270. So I'm hesitant to want to call those, patterns, chart patterns like a triple bottom or a double top. And I'm more inclined to want to say that that is within a range. Generally, it's 260 as opposed to 270. Most of the closing prints are around 260 with the wicks breaching into 270, but that 200, very clear, I should say, as a level of technical resist or support. So 200 right away, I like. Now, that there is this 225 that we had locally as another area of resistance and support. So take a look over here, 225 support, 225 support, 225 support. Oh no, it's not. That's on the 20th of November. We start using 225 as a very clear area of resistance. On this morning, we got to 230, so we didn't quite make it down into that 225 again. I'd like a move, obviously, at closing print above 260. You've had very few of those. Above 260, most of the prints into 260 are either wicks or immediate reversal candles like this one over here on the 29th of October, reversal. And then you've got it again on the 12th of November. Sorry, I meant October there, so this is November. Oh, that's December. No, that's November. This one here. 11th of November, dropping all the way back down, holding 200. So I see a bit of a range, 200 to the bottom, 260 to the top, with 225 as an intervening area of both support and resistance. That's how I see it on the daily. Let's take a quick look at the weekly. If there's a different look over here, kind of the exact same look. 260 to the top. You can even see it clearer here because the closing prints on the weekly do not breach 260. It's very clear that it's only the wicks that are breaching it. Moreover, you can see the exact same thing at that 200. 200 never breached on a closing basis, just on a wick basis intraday. And most of the times when it does lose 200, it ends up closing green. Case in point, the week of the 24th of November, the week of the 15th of December, the week of the 12th of January. So that 200 is a dang good buy spot on AMD, but it looks, at least for now, that 260 is a good sell spot. That is, of course, unless your time frame a little bit wider. All right, we got to pause. We're going to Adara.
Crypto segment time. Obviously, this will be discussed more on the news segment here from 1 to 2, so I will not belabor any points, but I do want to just talk here about BTC because this is a nice recovery day so far for Bitcoin. Intraday low here, intersession low rather, 74,500, high of just shy of 80,000, that's 79,300 right now, trading just above that 79K level. And we're trying to take out yesterday's high. Now, sharp sell-off here for BTC. This really began on Thursday, continuing here Saturday, quite aggressive selling. Apparently, nearly $1.5 billion worth of assets left U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs during the previous week. That's according to data from Farside Investors. Meanwhile, Ethereum also struggling. Ethereum ETFs shedding $327 million worth of assets here during the last week. So Ethereum and Bitcoin, once again, looking pretty similar when it comes to the price action. You've got, in both cases, multiple days of selling, bit of a rebound session. But unlike Bitcoin, which is trying to take out prior session high, Ethereum quite a ways away from prior session high of just shy of 2,500, currently trading here around 2,380. So lots of crypto weakness, again, very likely to be discussed later on the afternoon show, or during the midday news portion. So I'll leave that for now. We'll send it back over to the guys.
Yes, you are absolutely accurate. It will be discussed in the news segment, which we always do right around that 1 o'clock time slot. So, you know, it's a chance for us to kind of dive deeper into the news segment. It's a little slower at the time. The volume drops off, so we take the opportunity to talk things a little bit in more details. You also get Joey Options' perspective on it. You're going to get a Darius perspective, myself. So you'll see all the different thinking, and then you kind of, draw your own conclusions from the facts and the opinions that you get. So if you haven't been with us around that 1 o'clock time slot, join us every day. We go through the news. Today, the morning note is about 14 pages long.
Let's see how many likes we got here, Sharif.
Sir.
Let's see how many we got here for the folks. Oh, I didn't even, no, I'm not even going to check now.
We're back doing it live here on ZSL, eh? ZSL is, yeah, it's moving back up, Joey.
Yeah, I know. We got we're short. We're both short silver, essentially. Sharif using the inverse here. Oh, man, Jose and I were talking about that glitch in ZSL.
Everybody's talking about it, bro.
Yeah, like, that is, so remember when I was saying, yo, hit that,
yeah,
hit that.
And I did.
Yeah, you did. You hit
were
that,
right.
man. Next, if that were to ever happen again, listen, don't.
You wouldn't do it.
No, this is what I would do it.
You would
and
do
I'm
it.
doing it like I'm throwing the mortgage at it. Essentially, that's what you want to do, man. Is you throw when you see something, when you see a decoupling like that, it's a glitch within the system. It happens very rarely. You just like it's just like whatever you got, just throw full BP essentially on that
mortgage
position.
the house.
Yeah,
Okay.
everything, man. Just throw everything and boom. Just try to get out as soon as you possibly can as well too, because you don't want to end up like that Chinese metal trader there down 100.
He's absconded. He's absconded. Nobody can find him.
Well, obviously. Like,
where's everybody's money at?
Yeah, 144 smackers.
Hold on,
Cheats.
I'm assuming he was leveraged to the nine.
Obviously,
yeah.
Like, dude, you don't just lose 144 schmil.
That's one country I wouldn't really try to run away from.
Oh, I
feel like they may be able to catch you, and
you think so?
They would employ some interesting tactics.
Like,
I'm
if
just
you
saying.
can get to the border, then I think that would take a little weight off the shoulders.
I think they'll get you wherever you go, man.
But I mean, yeah, like, where are you gonna go essentially at the end of the day? So, like,
They're gonna have the tentacles everywhere.
You're
man.
in trouble, man.
Like an octopus.
So you're gonna have to live a different lifestyle at that point. There goes Palantir. It's not like you have any money either, right? Like,
no.
You can't do a bank transaction. They're gonna find you immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder what happened. Like, this guy's watching it go down. Okay, they were down 10%. All right, a couple hours later, we're down 20%.
Sweating, probably.
30%. All right, I'm out of here. Like, see you later. Like, you can't do anything about that, man. It's crazy. The guy probably just got up from his desk, left, and then was just never to be seen.
Never to be seen again, man. Joey Ops, we added some in IBIT this morning, and I'm pleased. I'm quite pleased with the ad on IBIT. But I'm concerned. Yeah, I'm happy with the price. Dude. But I'm going to be very, very technical about it. It loses structure and it loses support. I'm closing my entire position. Yeah, and I'll take the L. I'll take the L because I've DCA'd into it. Yeah. And then if it sets up again, then we'll have a conversation. But I'm not going to DCA into an oblivion. Yeah. And if that structure breaks, I'm out.
There's zero chance. Yeah. For me, man, like, I've been in it literally. So I think IBIT IPO'd in March of 24 or something relatively close to that. And that's when I first started buying it. I mean, that's 2 years of gains just gone right now, right?
Yeah, that happens.
That happens. But it's a good chunk of money gone. So for me, if it goes like right back to break even, then I'll be sitting on a nice amount of cash. A lot of people saying that it could head over to like 50K or something along those lines. I mentioned
I would hate that.
There's a target they have on this. They have a set mining price. Once they're done their kind of distribution phase and the accumulation, whatever they're doing, then sure enough, it's going to climb. And who knows what happens again? But poor Michael Saylor, well, actually not poor him at all. I don't feel any type of way. He's just been buying this stuff hand over fist. And he's been like, listen, I'm no market technician or anything along the chartered market technician or anything along those lines. Okay. But him just grabbing like 3,000 here, 3,000 there, I'm like, what is the game plan here? I don't really understand it, dude.
It's not like you can say there's a fundamental reason. Oh, he's getting here because the market size. What, bro? It's not a yield-producing asset, man. I mean, where are you getting?
Like, what? Like, listen.
You know what I mean? Unless it's technicals, what are you basing it on?
Like, I get it. I understand it's Bitcoin, but who is it to say that some next computer genius steps in here and makes something identical? Like, hey, you need to mine this stuff. There's only 21 million of it. You can do it in fractions, right? like someone can do that, right? Anybody can do that and name it whatever they want.
I don't know. I get that. I see you're absolutely right that that's theoretically possible. I think there's first mover advantage. I still like Bitcoin, but I have to be strategic rather than emotional. The emotions are going to be from the hit. If I get stopped out, I get stopped out. I'm going to feel some kind of way, but it's not going to end my endeavor into Bitcoin. I'm going to look to set up again, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think there's going to always be. Do not be no more. At what point I didn't make any Chinese jokes whatsoever. Yeah, Sandra, I literally didn't make any Chinese jokes.
What Chinese jokes?
Yeah, exactly.
The guy's running. Okay, because we're making fun because the Chinese Communist Party's going to clip him.
Yeah, he could have been from anywhere.
Okay. Maybe that's what they're upset about.
Yeah. Don't be so sensitive there. Anyways, I mean, come on, get the thicker skin. You know what I mean? Don't be hit that one.
The market moves like the waves, always.
Yeah, tell him, Sharif.
Like, subscribe, let's go.
Tell him, yeah, exactly. And for this, also hit this. Actually, no, we're gonna hit this because
when we hit,
it's gonna again. Don't worry about it. It's okay. The sky is not falling, but. Anyways, Joe. No, I don't own any MSTR. I would never buy MSTR if I was giving somebody else's. If someone gave me their money and said, "Hey, buy whatever you want," MSTR would not be on my list whatsoever. I'd rather just go to Bitcoin itself, especially in this downtrend. I mean, it can go absolutely ripping if Bitcoin does recover, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case right now. Okay, so do we short Tesla? Look at this head and shoulders. We're now at neckline. Neckline broke there on Palantir, so that's a missed opportunity. We'll start really small here on TSLL. Oh, I can't even short TSLL. I have to get shorts, but I do like this as a potential move lower.
We're going to be good with that soon, by the way.
With the yeah? Nice. Yeah, so then I could just be like, yeah, man, let's rock and roll. But now the market's slightly topping at that 627.50. You have to keep an eye on the mag just in case, right? If Amazon continues to grind a little bit higher, then by all means, it's going to be tough to short the TQQs. But let's pull up Tesla. We're going to start really small. We're going to have to go just with the direct underlying, and then we'll take some small size just in case it does come back against us. But there we go, start moving to the downside there in Tesla, Sharif.
All right. Here's the deal. What's his name in there? BD Gaming 17. Bro. Sharif. London will be blue this weekend. I'm assuming Chelsea and Arsenal are playing each other. I don't even know what the schedule is. All I saw, though, brother, was your entire team get manhandled by one individual. Shout out to Adama Traore. You know. So this guy, he's got no business playing soccer. We're going to show him in a second. He's got no business playing soccer. He's like 200 pounds of just lean muscle. You should have seen. He dismissed this QQQ guy who was a left back. Just tossed him out of the way. Just threw him, and then his boy came in. He's like, okay, you can't throw on my team like that. I'm going to have to intervene. So he pushed him from behind. Then Adama turns around, sees the guy who pushed him. The fear of God was in his eyes. He knew what was coming. If the other part of the team did come, I got to show you guys this, man. No, man, it wasn't even close. This guy could eat you and I alive.
Yeah? Adama
Traore, he's a big man. Let me show you this guy, bro. I need to show you the meme, too, of him just dismissing QQQ. So let's go Adama Traore. There he is. You can come to my screen now so you know everything's fine. Look at this guy. He's huge. Why we're going to his Facebook page? But let's look at this. Chelsea. Let's see if we can get the image of him just dismissing this guy. No, we're going to get dinged if we show it, but let's see if we can do it over here, Joey. It's on the gram. Yeah, he just dismissed him. Oh, here it is. Look at this. Get out of the way. And then he pushes him from behind. The fear of God is, he's terrified. He got dismissed. Just dismissed. Anyway, if you think soccer guys are all weak, well, this guy is certainly not weak. Shout out to Adama Traore, man. He's doing it live. All right, we're going to have to get out of ZSL, because it's coming back down into 60. Now, this is where it found support before. So I'm kind of hesitant to want to get out here because there's a double bottom. This is going to be a triple bottom here on ZSL. I'm just going to add here, and if it loses the bid, it loses the bid. I'll just get out. at the 58 penny area, but it's found a lot of support at $2.60. Moreover, found it as resistance earlier at 8.20 and 8.25. So for whatever reason, 260 probably an important level on the actual SLV. But we're going to give this one a try. If it loses the 60 penny area, I'm certainly out. Anurag. But Traore's pace with all that muscle mass is commendable. Of course, bro. I thought, he should have been given more a chance. In Barca, they didn't really give him a fair shake, but he's been jumping around now. A little Wolverhampton, a little Fulham. Now he's with West Ham. Let the man find a home, man. I think he's a really talented guy, but he's, I don't know. I don't think he's taken seriously by the soccer community. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I think they should definitely be giving him a lot more leeway to play there. I think he's really good, but that's just me. Clutch one, why you not on PBM? Let me take a look. PBM. Let me have a quick look there, brother. Because this one's halting to no end, man. And it's also down. I've got it on the side chart right here. It's down here. It's halted to for no end here, and I don't know why it's not giving me my proper technicals, but it just keeps halting, brother, and it's breaking down now. It's well off the highs, 1264 high. It looks like it's showing something around, where is this halted? 734. I'm keeping an eye on it, but I'm not going to be quick to jump into it. Silver, great at 260. We're going to wet the beak here. Good look. This one held 260 again. So guys, there is a buyer here at 260 on ZSL. Whether or not that buyer sticks around for longer or what the situation is, there's the print. Looking for more now into the high side. Packing the patience on this one. Looking for another big move, possibly into the 80s. It's up 13.5%, and got a great 260 area low. So that's what I'm going to keep my eye on, Joey.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, someone was asking me about, Joe, what do you think about the TQ short up here, higher of the day, your risk profile? It seems like you know what you're doing, like you have a game plan, right? So just stick to it. There goes Tesla. Okay, I don't want to chase it at these supports. I wanted to get involved at the top end of the range, but it just didn't give it to me. I have a feeling we might break down a little bit here, guys. So Tesla, what do we do with you? Wait for one more pullback. If we bounce off of support, I think that's going to be a good opportunity. But if this is the move where we crack, then so be it. We had two opportunities missed. We're still short silver, so maybe we can get a little bit of a move to the downside there in SLV and head back towards the LOD, low of the day. But yeah, man, you can't go wrong here on the TQQs. Let's pull it up. Well, you can go wrong, obviously, but it sounds like you have your plan of action already implemented, so just take it. You do have the neckline right around this around this area right here, 54.85, and then if you break 55.58, then sure enough, you just get out of there. So you give it about 60 cents worth of risk. That's nothing to worry about. So silver, if we can break 70.24, I like our chance of heading back towards 68, unless this move is going to completely reverse. I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case. Let's take a look at it from a daily perspective as well, too, and see what we got going on. Silver. I mean, like, crypto rarely even does this, man. $110, you get a 38% dump. Like, you're down 40% in the span of 3 trading sessions. That's not fun whatsoever. It doesn't matter who you are. And yeah, definitely if you're that guy over in China, $144 million. AC Slater to that one. He's on the run. I'd probably be on the run as well too. So there it is, guys. Palantir starting to break and continue. I was looking at this 5-minute print here, Los and Goreb, but I just feel that the momentum is kind of shifting here in today's session as we are peaking in the TQQs, and the same thing with the SPY. Is it nearly as strong or is it stronger? Let's find out now. I think a lot of this is going to be held by the financials. So SPY topping out, double top essentially here. So once that neckline breaks, you might get that move into the volume weighted average price. But here's the pullback that we're talking about in Tesla. If this trend line does continue to hold, then maybe we can get our opportunity in there, especially if we reject the top end of it, positioned relatively well. Your risk to reward is going to be slightly skewed just due to where you have to admit where you're wrong. But I do like on the 5-minute time frame, we're starting to form that head and shoulders pattern. So let's see if we can get a breakdown in the overall market as the TQQs and the SPY start to come into the volume weighted average price.
All right, man, I got to shout out Eddie because he did it again.
No.
Eddie sent obviously Krispy Kreme last week, which was fantastic. Man. You're very much loved in the office here, Eddie. Thank you very much. He super chatted. He sent a whole bunch of memberships. Why Assassino? Why the crickets? Okay. And now today, Eddie sending another 10 free memberships. Thank you so much, Eddie. Zero Disco 1, you got one. Scratch Eye, you got one. How about Carlos? ATN Nerd, Joser 55, we got Wahmandu, he got one. Arrow 53X got one. Shout out to Dream Angels Garden. All of you guys got the free membership, and as a result, let me tell you now what you can do with that. There's going to be a lot more you can do in the future, but for now, you can get my morning note every single day. You just go over to the Trader TV homepage on YouTube, hit home, and then once you're there, right under the tabs over here, click posts, and then weasel on down. You'll see this green rectangle. It says members only, and Sharif's morning note. Big thumbnail there. Just hit read more. Weasel on down into the Google Drive link. Said read the full PDF right there. Click that bad boy. It comes up. Today is about 14 pages long. A couple of Google entries. One about this $2 billion penalty that they avoided. One with a new Waymo valuation now in the range of 110 billion. Then you got Apple winning some stuff in India. Bitcoin tanking. Gold and silver sharply unwinding. Oracle's announcing a $45 to $50 billion capital raise. Disney reported earnings this morning. Palantir reporting earnings after the bell. Oil tanking on the back of peace, thankfully. So the point is, all you guys can get the morning note now that Eddie has gifted you the membership so kindly. And if you're not a subscriber, let's show them where they can get it, SSE. If you're not a subscriber, you want to get the morning note, you want something a little bit more nuanced, head on over to the video that you're currently in right now. So let's just go to the video. And there you go. Right below the video, it'll say join. You click that bad boy right there. This handsome gentleman named Brendan Wickens shows up, tells you what you're going to be getting, and then click that join button right there. $5 a month. Now, trick, if you go on your phone and you hit that join and you're with Apple, it's going to be more expensive because Apple's got to take their 30% cut. So the point is, look to get in on your desktop or an Android device so you don't have to pay the Apple premium. Otherwise, it's going to be more than $5 a month. So I just wanted to mention that. And thanks, Eddie. Kind as always, classy as always. Eddie, man, we appreciate you, brother, and hope you're doing it live and you had a fantastic weekend. That's it. That's all I'm keeping an eye on there. Still in Fuse. We're about 8 pennies out of the money. I'm looking for this one to hold up at the volume weighted average price, but it's kind of got an unbroken look, unbroken lower high look, save and except for this outlying area here, which got me in. So I'm really concerned here about Fuse as a flat bottom break. So I'm keeping a close eye on this one. Loses 70 pennies, I'm out. But yeah, it does seem like it's an unbroken chain over here of lower highs. Again, save and except for these two outlying candles, 1110, 1115, where I actually made money on this. But right now, we're just picking up scraps as it moves into the high 290s. I'm wetting the beak, but I'm trying to hold the majority of the position for a break of $3. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on there. CADX looks like hot garbage. It's unbroken lower high, lower high, lower high. Now lost the volume weighted average price and of no longer of interest to me. So that might lose its spot on the side chart momentarily. ZSL continues to do okay. It has a 260 buyer. We know that. The problem is, though, we're unable to take out that 275 area. So it's good, but I need to see a decided trend change. And that trend change comes with a closing print above that 2 3/4 on ZSL. Other than that, AXTI, the other one I'm looking at, it had a great day Friday, but this one also suffered from the same thing that Fuse is suffering from, or CADX is suffering from, and they're both actually, that it's unbroken lower highs. Right, and I waited for all afternoon on Friday for AXTI to break those lower highs. It didn't, so I never ended up getting in. And today it's off the top as well, having breached 22 into 22.20. It's down now into 21.5. So I need to see if this one's going to kind of have a little bit of support to catch that bit to the high side. JLHL I've said very little about because it's barely open. It's up 78, 80%, well off the high of 957, dropping now into 6 1/4. So, this one isn't for me because it just doesn't do enough liquidity to stay open, but we're going to keep tabs on it. And if it's tradable, I'll get in. Otherwise, I won't. Joey.
All right, man. Good stuff there. Oh, there goes the pen case flying. Yo, shout out to my guy, Heart to Heart Media. Also, who else? We got Vancouver Island as well, too. Yeah, we love that. Man, Horseshoe Bay. I remember it was a long time ago I was in Horseshoe Bay. Obviously, well, not obviously. It's not like you would know this, but I have family in Bowen Island, and I love it out there. Some good stuff. Man, when's the last time you were in Vancouver?
When was the last time out? I've never been to Vancouver.
Oh, wow.
Calgary's as farthest west I've been to in Canada. Yeah.
I think
Holy
Vancouver.
cow, I didn't even realize that.
That's for sure. Yeah, Vancouver is that place. Man, great times. I remember I went to a Canucks game and they played the Kings, and me and my cousins, we got kicked out because we were just so, well, one of them did anyways, and we were just so rowdy. Anyways, aside from that, guys, SLV down 5.7%. Yeah, they're like, you're gone, buddy. See you later.
Seriously, eh?
Yeah, but the rest of us stayed. We're like, man, we paid a lot of money for these things. But all right, guys, so there it is, a nice bounce back. Like, there's obviously some buyer here at that 70-40 mark, even 70-60. So keep an eye out on that. And I'm glad that we didn't get short at the break of the neckline here on Tesla, guys, because we're like, hey, watch out for that rebound and that pullback. And that's kind of what we're experiencing right now. Same thing with PLTR. We did get that neckline break, but now we're starting to head right back into that previous support zone. Let's see if that's going to act as resistance. This is going to be a massive inflection point, in my opinion, here with Tesla. Are we going to fail this pattern and then head towards the HOD, which would put us around this neck of the woods? Or are we going to kind of break down once again? And the Qs, it's tough here because a lot of us were thinking short on it, but we're starting to form somewhat of a bull flag. Let's run through our Mag 7 right now to see what they're up to. And I say this time and time again, and that's kind of why I've swayed from trading the TQQs unless everything's kind of moving in tandem, is that you have to focus on so many other vehicles, and that's most definitely the Mag 7, right? So if you go through the Mag 7 and they're all wishy-washy, a couple of them are moving this way, the other one are selling, the other couple are ripping, it makes it really difficult to trade that vehicle. So Amazon continuing to climb a little bit higher. Let's see what Goggles is up to. Same thing, right? So if you're thinking of going short the TQQs, it's tough when these two names are already moving higher. Now let's head over to Apple. So over there, Apple starting to come back in towards the volume-weighted average price, failed to establish a new high of around $265.45 as you come down about 1.5 points off of that mark. Now, as for Microsoft, it is lunchtime already, 4 minutes early. See Microsoft moving lower, not too good of a look. I'm missing one of them. Give it to me, folks. We've done Apple, we've done Microsoft, we've done Google, we've done Amazon. Let's see what Broadcom is up to. I know we don't really talk about it too much from a trading standpoint. Down, but moving higher off of the volume-weighted average price there, Sharif. And then we also have Tesla, which we've been keeping our eyes on, starting to find somewhat of a rebound and head towards some of those key resistance zones. So keep an eye out on that. And silver just kind of stuck in limbo right now. Nice new hairdo. Thanks, appreciate it. I didn't shave it. I'm going to shave it there tonight to see what we got going on. Get that fresh thing down to the straight to the skin, my friend. Apple and Tesla are Joe TVs. No, I don't mind trading Tesla. Guys, if you've noticed, I haven't been trading IBIT for quite some time. When Bitcoin is in play, I like to trade it quite often. But what I've done, okay, that's okay. Anyways, so essentially, what I've done here, nothing. Sandra's just a big mad for some reason. We'll let it slide. So it happens.
What's wrong? I don't know. Is that the person who was telling you that you were racist?
We'll allow them to be mad.
All right,
we'll cool off.
Chill,
it sucks to be red on the day, and if I have a feeling, but hey, we're nicely green here. Okay, so essentially, what we got going on here, guys, is what I'm just looking for more in play names. And not just sticking with the NVDAs and kind of those Mag 7s. I want to kind of widen my basket of stocks, and it's been working out really well for us. And it's earnings season as well too. So it allows us to expand that playbook and just find things with cleaner price action. Silver's been in vogue for quite some time, so that's why we've been trading that, and not necessarily Bitcoin, because I don't think it's overly in play.
There goes MRNO. Y'all were yelling about it. Your boy's in at $0.75. We got into 198 high a day. MRNO is on the rampage to the high side. It's up 63%. There is some selling coming in here to be expected. We're into that $2 area. The whole dollar area is likely going to be, at least for the moment, a key area of intraday technical resistance. I like this 180 area. If this 180 area keeps holding holding up, that will be holding structure. 170 was a prior area resistance. We generally held it, but we did zig and zag. So you need to be on the lookout for that, right? Look, we got into 180. It didn't hold 170 structure. It in fact dipped into 156. So you need to be on the lookout for some zig and zags here on MRNO. We've got 75s on. I'd like to get a little bit more if I could, pardon me, into the 80 penny level, showing me mid 80s right now where the buyers are stepping in. I flipped to the 5-second chart on my top screen to gauge local areas of support and resistance. So it's that 180 area that's glaring at me right now for a possible add. And I'm just gonna, I wanna build good habits. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a dip trade into that 181 area. We'll see if we can get anything in and around that level or what the situation is gonna be. Here it comes 183, 181, we get the fill. Do we get continuation? Let's put some over here at 85s. Let's see if we can get something there. And then I'm gonna put some at 92s as well. What's my move though? What's my move? What if it goes against me here, which is topping tail? So I think anything below 170 ends the trade for me. 169er will end the trade. So let's go ahead and put that in right now. And then we'll just give it a little bit of room in case there's an area of illiquidity, MRNO. So we'll throw that on there and we'll take the subjectivity out of it. So that's MRNO looking good, but it's got to hold up here. I'm worried about Fuse though, man. It's just not catching a bid, and it's continuing to put in unbroken lower highs. It certainly feels like the sellers are in control. The only saving grace is that we're still above the volume weighted average price, and I really don't know how long that's going to last for here. So I am kind of concerned about that. I'm talking about FUSC on the NQ up 75%. There goes MRNO right back into the 80s. No continuation though into the high 80s, which is where we're waiting. We're waiting mid 80s, high 80s, and then obviously we've got those prints from the 90s that we were talking about. But I also want to bring your attention to AXTI because I was complaining about this one not breaking the downtrend line on Friday, and as a result, we never got involved into it. Well, it did here. So AXTI could be kind of turning over a new page in terms of, the technicals. 2175 seller. I'd put a breakout trade above 81 or 82 just so that it takes out the 1130 candle high, the high of which is 80.5 pennies. It's exactly what I'm going to do here on AXTI. We're going to do it live. So AXTI on the NQ, I believe. Let's see if we can get that. And then we're just going to put a breakout trade so that it doesn't, take too much of my attention. So 21, we're gonna go 85, and we're gonna put a breakout trade above that. We'll go at 88 for that many shares. So if it ends up taking out that 1130 candle, we'll get involved. Doesn't, we don't. Simple as that. There goes, what's it called? MRNO, great ad there, Joey. Right back into the high 80s. I'm looking for some low 90s now on MRNO. Clean hold of the volume weighted average price. Probably scared the hell of a lot of people. The 1155 candle was the mother of all topping tail candles. And now there's a seller at 87 and he's hidden and we can't shake him right now. So be on the lookout here. MRNO, not bad, but we've got some intraday selling. Obviously intraday selling at 187 there. We'll see if we can clear it. So the deal is, it is now 12:02. We're gonna send you up to a dare for happening now. And then I believe Neil, probably not. Well, we're probably not gonna have the lesson of the day, but you're gonna get happening now.
You're also going to get a lower reciprocal tariff on India. That's right. U.S. President Donald Trump just sharing a very long Truth Social post about his conversation with Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India this morning, saying that apparently they did speak about the Russian-Ukraine tensions, saying that India has agreed to stop buying Russian oil and to buy more oil from the United States and possibly Venezuela, which Trump says will, quote, help end the war, all caps, in Ukraine. Furthermore, again, as mentioned, it looks like there's going to be a cut here in the reciprocal tariff. U.S. now charging India a reciprocal tariff of 18% compared to the prior reciprocal tariff of 25%. Here's the S&P 500 continuing to push higher here on the day. SPY pushing higher as we do have some weakness continuing here in silver and gold. So these precious metals remain weak, though some of these crypto plays here actually faring a little bit better today than they were previously. MSCI actually still red on the session, even though it's near intraday highs. But again, Bitcoin selling off here, breaking below that $80,000 level. As of right now, still not able to get back above that area. I do want to talk here now that we've gone into wider market catalysts. Let's talk about Palantir. They do report before the bell, and they have a lot to live up to. Sorry, after the bell tonight, and they have a lot to live up to, guys, because as you can see, greater than 50% year-over-year growth, more or less, across the board for all of their major revenue segments. So there is a lot we're going to be watching here to see that continued growth for PLTR. Growth slowing could be a negative catalyst for them if that does happen, so that'll be something to keep an eye out for. And again, you'll be able to check that out with myself, Sean, Neil, and Brendan at 4 p.m. Eastern. Again, earnings themselves released at 4:05, but you'll actually be able to get the recap show starting right at 4. Speaking of recaps, let's talk about DIS. They did report earnings before the bell. Market not reacting very well to this report, but the report in and of itself, not bad in certain areas, revenue and EPS beating estimates, but segment operating income across the board down 9% year over year. A lot of operating income segments also reporting year over year decline. So if you enjoy what you're seeing here, I mean, definitely make sure to check out Palantir earnings after the bell. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to go back over to the midday and stay with us every single day, guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much. MRNO, so failed break with that topping tail candle at 1155, 198 high. It comes down. It doesn't hold structure. So here's the deal. Well, let's see what this one has to offer. I don't think the best trade is behind it, but I need to be careful because the price action developed so quickly. So it's one of those anomalous situations where the volume weighted average price is actually ahead of, meaning a higher up on the price chart than the 10 EMA on the 5. That creates a bit of a charting issue for me. So I'm going to watch here. Let's see if 170 ends up being an area of support that just, happened to be a wick through that area to stop everybody out. It did find support at the 10, and it's still holding the 10 EMA, but it is south of the volume weighted average price, still 46.5%. We gave back a little bit on that stop out there, but we're going to keep an eye on this one. I don't want to turn away from this one yet because it might be quite good. LVWR, shout out to Jag Guzman, 2656. Shout out to the man. This is not the first time he's called out good tickers. And this one, LVWR. Now I need to warn you about this one. It's still south of 1 million shares traded on the day, 771,000. The problem is, or that's the issue. The good news is it's holding. Like, it's a great looking trend above the 10, above VWAP, above that $3 area, but it's not exactly manifesting price action that quickly. So you may have to pack your patience on this one because, well, it's got a topping tail candle into 340, dipping down now into 312s. Let's see what this one has to offer. I'm not going to jump in all that quick. By the way, I still have a breakout trade on AXTI, which hasn't triggered. MRNO is still bleeding down into that 61. And last but not least, ZSL could also be a stop out sooner rather than later as it's coming right back into my entry at, what's it called, 262, showing me 61s now. Now, my bias here has been there's a big buyer at 60. If that buyer at 60 is gone, I'm out. I've got my stop right below that, so I'm not going to be DCing into an oblivion. I'm in here because I see a 60 buyer. Now, that's the good news. What's the bad news? It is a symphony of lower highs, and there goes that 60 buyer. We're out. We'll lose 2 pennies per share. Now, here's the deal. This is kind of what I was seeing here on ZSL. You have that area high, right? And then you have another lower high, and then you keep putting in lower highs. All the while, you continue to hold that same area support. So that is the recipe for what we call a flat bottom break, where you have that key buyer. In this case, it's at $2.60, who keeps the price above that level, but the sellers at the higher price area, the 270s, the high 260s, they're just more powerful. They got more conviction, and that will end up being a flat bottom break. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be. I'm just saying be on the lookout for that level, 260 to give way. Then you might be on the way to the $0.50, and then maybe even more. So that is another issue there. What's my take on Fuse? If Fuse loses the 270 area, I'll tell you exactly where I have my stop at the risk of getting stop hunted on Fuse. We've got it at 268. So it loses 268, I'm out. That simple, which is, already a couple of shekels below the volume weighted average price. The reason I did that is because I didn't want to get wicked out in case I was getting stop hunted. But Fuse is also suffering from the same affliction that AXTI and ZSL are suffering from, which is that unbroken lower high, all the while keeps finding support, in this case, at the volume weighted average price. For how long? So I am concerned here. There it is. It stopped. It got into 260. Didn't see the stop trigger there. Let's see what it does. right back up. Just give me a second here that the price action is developing in the 70s. I can just use my stop out key. Let's see if people are going to step in aggressively here at Fuse because it did wick below. Now, I'm not going to hold this. We're going to stop out here on FUSC. So that will be a big loser for me on the day. It will put me negative, but we're going to try to work out of this one. If it sets up in the right way and it breaks trend, let me show you guys my black chart. If it breaks trend, I'm going to jump right back into this one, and we're going to jump back into it with conviction. So FUSC for the for the exception of the 11:10 candle and the 11:15 candle on the 5, it is unbroken lower highs. That breaks, that changes, I'll get back in. So that's kind of my look on there. And then LVWR, wow, as quickly as that was up, as quickly as it was down, all the way down into 2 3/4 with a 340 high. Barely spent any time there. So very, very illiquid on those levels. So I'm currently in no positions, but I'm definitely interested in getting back into MRNO, seeing that it's holding up at the 10 EMA on the 5. So that could be an interesting look for me. And there goes ZSL. So happy with that stop out. It lost 260. It's on the way now to 255. So that one does end up being a bit of a flat bottom break through that 260 level. And now it's only up 8.9%. So need to be looking there as well. Oh, there's MRNO taking out structure. So let's have a look here at MRNO because this one is breaking out again. And so I'm going to be able to set up a little bit better now because the 10 EMA on the 5 and VWAP getting a little bit closer together. Moreover, this did break prior bar high. So we have 78s. Let's go ahead and set up here for a price spike up. And if it doesn't, I'm going to be building my position into this at the volume weighted average price. Or, sorry, into the 10 EMA, correction. We're going to pause for a second. We got to go to the big desk with news.
But I'm both Google and NVIDIA here, guys. Google announcing that they're going to be bringing serverless experiences here to high-end inference with support for NVIDIA's RTX Pro 6000 Blackwell Server Edition GPUs on Cloud Run. So again, Google, I guess, announcing some support for these NVIDIA RTX Pro Blackwell servers. Interesting look there for GeoOGL and NVDA. Not really moving either stock, but either way, interesting thing to note. NVIDIA, for what it's worth, is actually at intraday highs. Back to you.
Neil just told me that they're putting a Joe Carter statue outside the dome. I think that's deserved. You hit a walk-off in game 6, yeah, you get one. You get one. Yeah, well, shout out to Joey C.
That Ronaldo statue makes the Joe Carter.
Why do they do Ronaldo like that, bro? He's a handsome guy, and he gets crapped on in the statue. Like, I mean, it didn't even look like him, dude.
Yeah, that was
it was bad. It was bad.
Joe, what's up, John Womack Gorb? Yeah, I know there's a nice runner on NVDA, brother. $189.73 there. You did break that. I've seen someone say gold broke through the volume weighted average price with some conviction. Yeah, same with silver. Yeah. And I think that might be the bottom, right? Like, we're down 4 1/4 here. At the lows, we were down around 7%. So 68.40 was that low, and I highly doubt that on today's intraday session we go and retest that. I can get out anytime soon. Once again, I mentioned that I only have, well, not only, I have 40% of the remaining position. The initial trade was good. I wanted 68 flats, but hindsight, obviously 2020, we got close to it, and then you get that V-shape consolidation. This is typically a bullish pattern right here. Consolidate, break down, you get that V shape, and then you consolidate right in that same supply zone, and then you break a little bit higher. So keep an eye out on that one there, folks, just in case silver wants to get running here this morning. Now, as for Tesla, we are right at the top end of this range once again. So it's really tough because with NVDA continuously grinding higher, and this is what I say time and time again. You have to be cautious when you're trading the TQQs and you want to short it. Like, I'm thinking short as well too. I move back into VWAP, but we have to take all the other factors into consideration, and that's going to be these big boys, right? If they're going to continue to climb, we don't want to be going short the Nasdaq. Now, as for Palantir reporting after the bell, this is going to be a good one. We did see a supply zone up at 170. Let's see if we run into that neck of the woods. But as for Tesla as well, too, right back into the top end of that consolidation. So let's see where we rock and roll from here. If silver breaks 70s, then we might be good. But once again, I mentioned that this might be a move back towards some of those pre-market highs. Now, if there's anything specific, yeah, let's go, Aziz. What's up, my friend? Hope everything is going good, brother. If there's anything that you guys want to go over via options chain or anything along those lines, feel free to ask me. Right, just put it in the chat. We'll go through some of your tickers. Don't forget $, and then what we are looking for. Tojo Mojo says Joe. Yeah, I mean,
you'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
No, not at all. All right, here's my guy here. Let's see what he says. Lads,
You know
boom.
exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Lads,
Neil knows.
Lads, boom. Happy healing, Joe. And how about the Gunner Sharif statement made entire month in 1 hour on one day on AMD and SanDisk? Back to, we're not going to repeat that, on Wednesday, sadly, but not for long, as my boy, for the past how many months now, has been in South America traveling. My boy,
Guy,
HBN.
man, I hate this guy, bro.
Yeah, I know, and I've been watching his videos as well, too, on YouTube.
Yeah?
I've been throwing jabs at him, too.
Obviously, don't hate him.
Yeah, that's my guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He's just been traveling South America. I call him a fellow Canuck, even though he's American. He lives
he's
in
very
Canada.
American.
He's very American,
Very
right?
American.
But low-key a Canuck.
We love
but
him,
that's
though.
all right. Yeah, we love Adam, healing pain. Enjoy. I know you're coming back relatively soon, man. I hope you've had a fantastic trip. Seems like one of a lifetime, but you do it quite often, so nice work there. Adam, healing James, or healing pain naturally, Adam abroad as well, too, because he has been traveling. All right, guys, right back into these markets. What do you guys want to look at? SanDisk. Yeah, I haven't even looked at it today. Sharif, have you looked at SNDK?
I see that it's up 593%.
Yeah, it's like, there you go.
It's up 16%, Joseph.
Again, so
like it hasn't moved up enough like the last couple of weeks.
No, exactly. But once, I don't know if Sharif, laws of physics, what goes up must come down.
sir.
I don't know, maybe possibly here in SanDisk, but this is a monstrous run, guys. Like $40 in the middle of the summer, $50 we'll call it. You go up to 678. Oh, that is minting a lot of millionaires, and hopefully some people in the chat have the ability to take,
of money.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of money, especially if you've been holding those. That is a big time move, and you are going to be happy with it without any form of questioning. But SanDisk moving really well here, guys.
We need new Donald. Like that's Donald 1.0. He doesn't dance like that anymore. I don't think he's got the dexterity to dance like that anymore.
Think so?
He's old now, man. He's I think he's knocking on the door of 80, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
close,
man.
right? So this is as much as you're going to get from President Trump these days. We need that,
struggle.
right? Trump 2.0.
Yeah. What happened, like, you remember back in, like, I don't know why I said, do you remember? Because there's zero chance I remember. But you know how, like, kings and kingdoms and emperors, or the empires, like, those guys were, like, Alexander the Great was, like, in his prime, just dominating the world. But what happened to that? What's up with these older men now, kind of?
Yeah, it's kind of the way it is. I know.
Don't you want someone in there who's like in his peak, in his prime? Just
bro, it's not a UFC card, Joey. Like, what the hell?
That's what I'm thinking, man. Let's get back to that narrative, man.
No, I get what you're saying, but yeah. Well, I think a lot of people would probably echo that sentiment. They want boomers in less positions of power and more of the new generation. And he very much is a boomer, right?
It's the experience, I guess, man. It's the life experience.
They have all the money. That's the thing. The boomers have all the money. But as we talked about, we're going to go through, we're going to witness one of the largest generational wealth transfers in the history of, I think, humanity.
Yeah.
All right, with the boomers amassing most of the money. I think probably the most amount of money by any one generation in the history of the world. I'm just guessing that is probably the case. And that's going to get passed on mostly to millennials who have a very good reputation for money management, right? Right, of course. Man, I have to be sarcastic, bro. I'm an older millennial, so it's like from 80 or 81. I'm 82, so I'm on the door.
It is from me. Yeah.
I have no idea. Like
I'm a millennial.
Yeah, so that's kind of the situation there. But in any event, here's the deal, guys. We're continuing to hold here MRNO. I built a position into 73. It's showing me 72s. It's still above the 10 EMA on the 5, but again, it's one of those anomalous situations where the 10 EMA and VWAP have kind of inverted. 10 EMA below VWAP, so a bit of a range now, 75 resistance. It looks like 64, 65, low 60s as support. Let's see if this one holds structure. I built a position on it, looking for this one to kind of move back up, but we'll see what this one has to offer. That's it. FUSE still not ready, in my humble estimation, to get in, even though it has a double bottom there. I believe in the high 60s is still putting in lower highs, and it's not decidedly above that trend line, so that doesn't get me involved in the trade. I'm going to pack my patience. If Fuse wants to break out above that trend line, I'm going to get in, and we're hopefully going to do well on it second time around. Separately, ZSL, I got out of that because, again, basically unbroken, lower high, lower high, lower high. If this one wants to change its tune, I'll change my tune and we'll take it to the high side, but it's got to show me buyers stepping in and around that level. AQST, I had a very ill-fated, very quick trade on. I think I lost a couple of pennies per share. Nothing to write home about, but looks like it might be curling here. I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm going to insist on closing prints above 4.25, and then we'll decide what we want to do with that one. But AQST, still not tradable under my system. And that's it. A breakout trade on AXTI, which hasn't filled. If there are any new small cap gappers weaseling their way onto the scene, I'd love to hear about them because right now I'm not seeing anything. I'm seeing KOLD. Dang, bro. KOLD is at high a day. It's really going here. Not a small cap gapper, obviously, and this is an inverse ETF for nat gas, which is absolutely getting shellacked, as we talked to you guys about this morning on the morning rundown. UNG was almost down 20%, and there it goes, breaking out with aggression, Joey. Look at this, man, 1970 flat top break, there goes 20. Here comes 2015. KOLD's up 48%, and it's got a good price on it here, 20 bucks and change, so you can, size in with decent amount of size. It's not going to be $300-400 name. So KOLD's earned its way onto the side chart. We're going to keep it on here, man. Okay, we may trade it as a small cap gapper, so I'll keep my eye on that. Odyssey Flight says BNAI is moving. I ran out of charts, and I don't even know where the hell my other chart went. So we're going to have to open up a new one here, Joey. So SSE, no, bro. We're going to take off LVWR. Let's take a look at BNAI. Okay. Yeah, wow, this is a lot cheaper now than the $80 stock this was a few days ago. Look, BNAI is not really having the best day. What is this up on the day? Allow me a second here. 11 and 2/3, almost 11 and 2/3, having traded 3.2 million shares. Okay, not bad, not bad. This is a key area of technical support as well. These are some pre-market highs here at 27.75. So if it gets back above 28, this could be a long here on BNAI. Thanks for pointing that out, Odyssey Flights. I had varying degrees of success with BNAI last week, but we're gonna give this one a try if it sets up in the right way. But KOLD continues to go here to the high side. Something to keep an eye on here.
All right, good luck there, my friend. And CCC Zelda Main, thank you very much for hitting you with a nice little chat right there. Any thoughts on gold? We haven't even looked at gold here today. We're starting to come back in. I mean, we're pretty close to getting stopped out break even here on silver, but you can see we're now down to 10%. So we're starting to consolidate, forming lower or higher lows here, though, guys. Something that we want to keep an eye out on just in case if we do decide to break out and head right back towards opening price, which is going to put us roughly right around, is that 930 candle? 73.85, all right, so $1, but I wouldn't hold what I have right now against me whatsoever, considering we were in this trade at approximately 947, 945 roughly. Our last out was at 11, we're now pushing 1230, and we haven't established or look like we're gonna break down anytime soon. Market is toppy. We're slowly cooling down here at the top end of this range, guys. $628 is going to be on the triple Qs. And then Tesla continuing to climb. So you never got that head and shoulders pattern coming into play, nor did you get the break of that neckline. Bounces right off of it, heads towards that key pivot high, and then I think the next target's going to be some of those pre-market highs as well too. Let's see what the chat's got going on here.
Joey, have you heard of this guy named John Kiriakou?
No.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, but you're on Twitter, so yeah.
I'm not like I have it. I wouldn't say I'm on it.
Bro, I went down a rabbit hole with this guy on the weekend. He's a former CIA spy.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about it.
And then he got booted by Obama.
Yeah.
Because like how the CIA ran wild during Bush, and after 9/11 they were doing wild stuff.
It was everywhere.
And Obama had to rein him back in. So Obama basically took away his pension. So this guy's been having to work basically kind of to keep the bills.
Yeah.
The lights on. Dude, this guy's one hell of a storyteller, man.
Is he?
Yeah, he just captivates you. Chat, do you guys know who I'm talking about? That John Kiriakou guy with that big hair? And he's like that CIA guy. He's all over the dang internet, man. And he's always got crazy.
Of bro.
Let me pull him up, man.
Yeah, pull up, bro, and let's see what we got going on. All right, we'll roll through some of these chats. Tied my hands on some new 0DT calls on Tesla around VWAP, looking pretty good. Nice calls, nice grab there. Nice grab there, my boy Charlie.
Hold on, this is the guy.
Yeah, no, I don't know this guy.
Yeah, you never seen him before?
He kind of looks like that actor who plays the Hulk.
He's been everywhere, bro. Yeah. And he tells you about all the different spying agencies, how they operate. Yeah. You know what they're good at, what they're not good at, how they, you know, like what their relationship with the U.S. It's unbelievable. Like this guy's got story after story and everything. I sent him to my old man. My old man dominates YouTube. I mean, he's probably their #1 customer on there, bro. And so he was just like, this is the best thing you've ever sent me. And he'll talk about politics, he'll talk about spying.
Remember Vice News? Remember how sick Vice used to be?
Yeah. He works for RT, though. I should probably tell you guys that. He works for Russia Today. So
he works for Russia Today?
Yeah, you need to view him through that lens. But hey, he did denounce the Ukraine Ukraine campaign, let's call it that. And he said it on his show, even though he does work for Russian TV.
Tesla grinding higher. Yeah, I've never seen that guy before. That dude has some stories to tell. He did a good interview with Joe Rogan, so he's on the Joe Rogan there, apparently, as the chat is saying. Great job. Okay, John Van Soers is saying, great job, Ramin. And he's going to lunch, just in case you were curious on that. All right. Thank you very much for John Van Soers. Kurt Hutching, more options. All right, yeah, let's pull up the chain and see what we got going on, guys, on gold. I know we haven't really looked at gold here today. We'll pull up GLD on the options chain. Have a good lunch, though, John, my friend. I know you're typically a burger and beer type guy, so hopefully you're going down that route once again. But into these markets, guys, February 4th, like GLD, running into those 2-day expiration cycles, not much activity. Increase in volume. Has silver slowly cooled down? Because I think with the fact that we're kind of just grinding higher, now we're at 132%. I want to do this, to be honest with you. Let's kind of write up a plan here. We're going to go to the March 6th expiration cycle. We're going to go extremely out of the money to see what we can collect here. $90. I like this, all right? I mean, see, that's the thing, $250. By the end of the month. I mean, we want to see a little bit more. Where's our 10 delta? Oh, our 10 delta isn't all the way up into here, guys. That's pretty high. We're not going to be collecting much at our 10 delta. So what do I mean by when I say, hey, this is our 10 delta? So essentially what you can use from your delta is just a percentage metric in which the contract is going to expire. So right now the options market is saying there's a 10% chance that this, a little bit less, that this 111 contract is going to expire in the money, right? So what we can do is look at it from an inverse perspective and use this delta metric to see, like, hey, we have a 90% chance that this is going to expire out of the money, okay? Which we like our chances, but for holding this for over a month, 32 days, we're only going to be collecting $100. And if you don't have the cash on hand, you're going to have to create a spread. So that's going to reduce what you collect drastically. We're now down to $89 on that one. And you can see the at the money IV is significantly cooler as well, about 60 points from what we get on the nearer dated expiration cycle. So if it were to even be worth it, we write these 111s, we give it a $5 spread. Yeah, you're not collecting much whatsoever. You would want to have the cash on hand, and I understand that it's kind of risky, but the options market is saying there's almost no probability that we close by the end of, or by February 6th, that we close north of 111. All right, so just keep that in mind there, guys. You can go even, some people go to the quarter delta, 75% chance, we like that. You collect significantly more here on that front, so $2.70 you'd be collecting. If you give it a $5 spread, that'll put you up there. So to $2.68, and we give it a $5 spread. You collect, that's not horrible, right? You collect $70 per contract combination. And I mean, if things really start to cool down and silver just kind of starts moving sideways for quite some time, you sell 3 or 4 of those vertical spreads, those credit spreads, that's not horrible by the end of the month. And if you collect 60 to 70% of the premium in the span of a couple of weeks, then that's not bad whatsoever. Let's actually do this live so we can see what we got going on. We're going to head over to our strategies. We're going to construct a vertical. We don't want the risk reversal. We're going to construct a vertical spread, but what we're going to do is make it a credit-based trade. Let's widen this here so it's 5 points. There's one more. We'll head over to that $90 mark, or sorry, that quarter delta. So we'll head a little bit lower. Sorry, we're going to do something here for fun for the people. And we'll take a little bit of time here, a little bit more over to that $90 strike price. And see, we'll just look at the metrics of this specific trade. So we're going to obviously have to hit the bid on this one. That's going to be our quarter. There's one, and then we're going to head over to that, get out of here, that $95 mark, and we're going to spread this. Let's take a look at the risk profile here, guys. So a probability of profit sitting around 85%. With your max return around 240, is that correct? Did I hit the right buttons here, Sharif?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, okay, all right. I mean, that's not horrible whatsoever. So we're going to sell this first, and then we have our spread formed. I thought our fixed profile would be a little bit more, or a little bit less there. So that's not looking too bad. Max return, $245. Probability of profit around 85% on that spread. So not too bad of a look, right? 30 days, you collect half of that, and you sell multiple of those, you're having a pretty good time. So there's your risk profile on that specific credit spread, guys.
All right, Fuse, trying this one again. It broke structure a little bit here. Let's see, there's a seller at 94 that we can't really shake, but this shouldn't be about, you know, a seller at any one level. If this is gonna break structure, it's gonna go. So, you know, for the moment it is. It's got a couple of good candles under its belt right now, but I'm not going to be adding into this position until I see a decided break of structure. So I'm planning on adding through the break of the mid 90s or the low 3s. If it makes its way up there, I'm going to stop out. If it takes out current bar low's at 81. So we're going to give this one super tight, you know, range, or we're not going to give this much you know, latitude at all, because of how it's been trading on the day. I see JLHL, guys. It's insane. I know that there is a very specialized way to trade these small cap gappers that halt to no end, and JLHL is one of them. It hasn't printed a million shares on the day, 745,000 shares, but it is back into that area high, $10.80. It was previously halted at 820. It ended up opening up at around 990, and now it's halted at 1080 to the upside. And you can kind of see, look how light those orders are. Like these ones are 150 shares, 24, 122, 100, 100. This is like the outlying one here, 901, 300. But most of these orders are super small, so this does concern me a little bit. And then there goes Fuse. We got stopped at a Fuse, quick as you like, and now it's bleeding its own blood down into the day low. So we'll end up giving back on that one as well. But thankfully, tight stop and very small share size, as this one I didn't trust. And for good reason, because it lured me in. So we're negative on the day today, guys. But look, we're gonna try to work out of this. If there is a good one that I see moving here, we're gonna size into it. Other than that, I really have nothing on at the moment. Now, I did recall there was an IPO here, PLYX. Is it open? I think it is. PLYX on the NQ. Let me just find out over here if it's open or not. I can't quite tell. PLYX on the NQ. So this is, no, is it? Yeah, it's been trading. So it's halted down. I think it's halted down over here. Yeah. So this one's losing it pretty much in a hurry. It's down now 50%. So be careful with this one. It's only done 4,000 shares. So this is going to be like that one last week that we talked about. I'm not going to be touching this one given the amount of volume it's done on the day. But thank you for the individual who's telling me about that in the chat. On the blockchain, is that from Dodgeball? Which one? What? Bleeding its own blood? Yes, yes. It's Joey's saying that I'm pretty sure he took from Dodgeball. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But our boy Ben Stiller.
Yes, yes, Ben Stiller. He's hilarious, bro. I love that guy. But yeah, I haven't even really watched Dodgeball in a minute. But yeah, shout out to that movie. Yeah, it's tough trading today, Joey. At least for me, man. I can't really seem to catch one of these small cap gappers at the right spot. They're not holding trend. So we're gonna have to take it easy. I'm not even close to my shutdown, but it doesn't mean that I'm just gonna keep trading like a dumbass, because we're not catching wins today. So I'm gonna pack the patience here. If something really does set up, then I'll go for it. Other than that, you know, I'm open to kind of look at some of the names that you're looking at. Now, you don't have to give me small cap gappers. You want me to look at some of these other charts? Absolutely. We'll give you an opinion about how they're looking, you know, more from a macro perspective. One thing I want to mention though, KOLD, which is an inverse ETF for nat gas. This is doing its thing 25 over here. It's up 50%, and here it comes again, Joseph, into the high day. Maybe we should trade this. This is looking fantastic. With basically a range over here of 2030, which is the day high, and then the area low is basically 20 mid-teens. So this could be a breakout as well. Shout out to Eddie saying APLD.
Yeah, man.
Let's have a look at Applied Digital, see what that one's been up to on the day. Again, I don't know where my my other, what's it called, chart is. So we're gonna have to load this one up. Let's go new window, and we're gonna go chart, new window. Chart, there we go, chart. Where is it? Oh, it's over here. That's why I can't find it. All right, take over for
Yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah, those.
Okay, I got it, Joe. I got it.
They'll get you. Oh, okay.
You can let me do it now.
Go ahead, man.
KOLD. Let's look at APLD. Sorry, guys. Forgot that we had that chart. This looks great, Eddie. What's APLD up to? 5.5%. It's like a rocket ship over here. Very clean. 10 EMA hold right at 34.5. That's a money fill. 35.5 into that 10 EMA could be another area, but it's making new highs as we speak. 35.77 now, area high, up more than 5.5%. This is the daily on APLD. Great hold of a technical area on this level, right into 33. 32.5, that's kind of the neckline of the double bottom, and you clear that, you clear it substantially, make all-time highs into 42.5, almost 43, you come back down, you hold that 32.5 like a glove, but it was already showing you its intensity, or its propensity, I should say, to do that. The 20th of January, the 21st, the 22nd, and the 23rd all held on that 32.5, and then we made the all-time highs into 42.5. So this is a good area here, Eddie, man. APLD looking real good, even though it is caught in a bit of a range. Look at those higher lows, tells you the buyers are still in control here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good look there, man. APLD has been absolutely monstrous as of late. It's been on a big time run. Some of the airlines are looking pretty good this morning as well, too, guys. DAL, UAL, AAL, and then Love slowly cooling down, heading back south of the volume-weighted average price. Yeah, where's my boy at? Ugo, yeah, Ugo Ibube. Yeah, masterclass by Shakur Stevenson this weekend. Just two different skill levels at that point. It was insane. But no, let's go JPM back to the top side here. We'll look at the daily. Same thing kind of with Vulcan and Diego Lopez, but a nice little bounce off of that 296 level. You did endure somewhat of a pullback here, guys, but we've seen this time and time again. Like, you get this move from 317, you get that 8% pullback. This one was a little bit more hefty, in that case 12%, but then now you're starting to get somewhat of a rebound down, probably about 8% or so. Yeah, 9% from that previous pivot high. I think JPM is going to be doing just fine. Just the ebbs and flows of the overall market. How's my friend CrowdStrike? We're just going to go over these picks here. CrowdStrike not doing too good there. Sharif, we did get that gap up, and I thought maybe, hey, this is going to be the bottom, but that doesn't necessarily seem to be the case as we head towards that $420 mark. We're trading at 442 right now, but for CrowdStrike to head into that zone, it's nothing. It's like a trading session. Then we got Walmart. Oh,
what?
Did you see Walmart today?
No.
Let's go,
what
my boy.
the hell?
Yeah, Walmart, a big time breakout. Is this a new all-time high in Walmart? It is. All-time high in Walmart, guys. A nice strong day from 119 all the way up to 123. So there it is, Walmart. And
I got
Staples.
the reason too.
Oh, you got it. Is there a little something on
Yeah,
Walmart
they picked
there?
up acceleration in its paid membership program, even though Goldman Sachs removed it from its U.S. conviction list. Okay, so the anti-Goldman.
That's silly of them.
Yeah.
That's very silly of them. And then Costco as well, too, guys. So the staples performing half decent. But speaking of, we may as well go over the best and worst top performing sectors here this morning and see what we got going on. How about you doing this to me? There's so many things open up here. We got to eliminate some of these, my friend. But we're going to open up a new window, and we're going to give you something fresh. And take a look at what we got going on so far this week. Joe Fresh, shout out to Loblaws. That's where you get that stuff, right?
Which stuff?
Joe Fresh.
Yeah, I never shop there though.
No, yeah, well, I mean,
But yeah, you're right.
The tech sector leading the way up 1.42%. Financial sitting in that second place, guys, in that show. And then we have 0.88% there. Consumer discretionary up 0.8%. And as for the bottom three, the communication sector, down just a little bit under than a 50%. Utilities down 0.8, and then energy sector also down a little bit. We do have a lot going on, and we're getting closer and closer to the news. So before we do so, you know what time it is, guys. It is going to be momentarily. We're going to go over the expected moves in Palantir, Teradyne there as well too. Fabrinet. There's not too much going on right now, but Tuesday after the bell, we can look at PayPal and PepsiCo for tomorrow morning. Pfizer as well. That can be interesting. But we have AMD that is going to be coming up on Tuesday after the close. Super Microcomputer as well. Chipotle had on Friday, Sharif, just in case you were curious there. And then Wednesday we have Uber in the morning, Eli Lilly. We know these are kind of Adair's favorites over here. Novo Nordisk as well too. Boston Scientific, and then Alphabet Wednesday after the close. ARM Holdings, Qualcomm, Snap Inc., Elf, Eyes, Lips, and Face. I didn't know it stood for that for quite some time. And then ConocoPhillips on Thursday, guys, Thursday morning that is, and then Amazon after the bell on Thursday. IREN looking like the Raptors logo right there, Sharif. That was doesn't that look like it? A little bit?
A little bit.
You know what I'm
Yeah, for sure. Like the red with the letters.
Yeah, the way it has. Maybe some copyright issues there. But come on, Silver. I hope Silver to the downside. But yeah, right after we get back from Sharif, we'll let him go over some of his trades. We'll look at some of the expected.
Man, I wanted to talk about Claudebot. Have you guys been hearing this basically personal assistant now that's making their way on the internet called CLAWD, Claude Bot? Now, they did receive a cease and desist letter from your great friends there at Claude because the name was a little bit too close. But this thing is apparently insane. You got to give it permission to be like able to access your entire computer. But if you're okay with that, then it's like next level personal assistant, and it understands your own workflow, like it's learning. Oh, really? So yeah, some people are raving about this in Silicon Valley, right? Have you guys heard about this? Yeah, Ichiro's heard it. Stag GX has heard it. Who else, man? Cease and desist. Well, that's what it is, man. And then Save Man Woman says yes, Molt and Claudebot big movers. It's next level stuff, man. And what's interesting is not, it's not tradable. The company that makes it is not investable. At least my understanding is they're in the private market. But it's showing us what the frontier models of these AI are capable of, so that you can make your own educated guesses as to what some of the big hyperscalers could be introducing in the next little while. Because they're going to want to respond. There's no way that they're not going to respond to that. But I haven't tried it. I've been scared to try it because you've got to give so much of your personal information to this thing that apparently it's not confirmed, but the security on this Claudebot is a little sus. So if it apparently it can go online. If it goes online and it posts something, some of these other programs can compromise it, and then it's not Claudebot itself that's compromised, but some of these programs that it connects to end up writing prompts and code in Claudebot itself, which then makes it compromised. So apparently it's really good from a usability perspective and showing what these frontier models can do, but not really quite there in terms of security quite yet. So if you guys are all about that, do a little bit of, it's probably a good case for virtual machines, says Fabian, but that virtual machine, if it has any of your personal information, again, it becomes compromised with the whole lot. I want to hear some of these comments, man. Ichiro says it's amazing. So, and I know Ichiro to be one of, very technologically savvy. It's crazy to me how people are letting it have access to your real data. That's kind of what held me back, Ichiro. I'm like, I didn't really want to give this thing access to my debit cards, my credit cards, all, pictures. Who knows what else could compromise you, but it's insane. He says, I am messing with it, but it does not have access to my real data. LOL, I'll wait for all the security companies to make sure it's safe. Yes, that's exactly what my line of thinking was. But I'm seeing some of the demos come on like TikTok and some of the other, social media platforms of what this thing is able to do. It's quite impressive, to say the least. It is literally like a personal assistant, but it's an AI. So yeah, there it is. And then Eddie, He's sending more memberships, another 20. 30 on the day. He sent 10 earlier and another 20 today. Shout out to Eddie, man. He's doing it and he's doing it live. We appreciate you, Eddie. All you guys that got the morning note, the premium membership, you guys can get my morning note every day now. You go to the post section of the YouTube homepage. But the only way to get one of these free memberships is you got to join us in the chat. You got to be active in the chat. If you're not active, it's not going to trigger your name as a member. But here are some of the people who got it. Bolu, A7347, you got one. Shout out to Darshan Raj you got one. Martin L. Webb, Road Parodi, you got one, man. The Gormless Twit. All right, you got one. Sir Jonas got one. T-Brat, Melody, you guys all got one. And then you guys can see Mr. Baximus and Mr. Lopan 36. All you guys are recipients as a result of Eddie's magnanimous hand, man. The guy, his hand there, it knows no other way other than to be very, very kind. So we really do appreciate that. Eddie, the gentleman, says Joser. Appreciate you, Eddie, as always, bro.
Masterclass. All class Eddie. That's what we're going to call you. Eddie, the distributor. I know it's the dealer, but we're going to call you the distributor. All right, guys, let's head over to, there we go. Let's take a look at some of these expected moves leading into this week, guys. We're going to pull back up our earnings reports. We'll go over them multiple times throughout the week. And then sure enough, we will look at the options chain and correlate them as well, too. So expected move. There we go. We're going to pull up our trusty tool here and see what we got going on. We're going to kick things off with Palantir because we have PLTR after the bell, guys. So we are looking at approximately a 9.4% expected move with a high of around $163. I think we've seen the supply zone around 170, but with a low of around 135. What we're also going to do right now is make sure when we run through all of these names that we can continuously correlate with the options activity. Really comes into play, man. A great tool as well. So Palantir, Teradyne, we're not going to take a look at, but let's see what AMD is up to. Or no, we'll go PayPal first because they're reporting tomorrow morning. PYPL. Not purple. We don't want purple innovation. Come on. PYPL. There we go. So with PayPal, guys, we're looking at a 7.9% expected move, a high of around $56.91, and a low of around $48.61. SMCI, let's take a look at this name, guys. We got a 10.8 expected move here in SMCI with a high of around $33.94 and a low of around $27.32. By the way, I'm thinking about putting in a small short here on the TQQs at these highs. But Tesla putting in a new HOD, Katina Man rolling into the building, and I know he's going to like that one for sure. Pepsi, we're going to take a look at PepsiCo as well, reporting tomorrow morning before the open, guys, with a 3.5 expected move and with a high of around $161 and a low of around $150. Pfizer, if anybody was curious about that one, we're going to run through it for you guys, just so you get all the information if you're curious about it. We can post some of these on my X account as well, too, so go follow me at Joseph. At TraderTV Joseph. Sure enough, what I do now is I post the upgrades, the downgrades, and the options pick them, which I picked, or that's what we choose from the previous session. 3.2% expected move with a high of around $27.33 and a low of around $25.62. Now, CMG, Chipotle. If anybody had that this weekend, put it in the chat. Put that one in the chat, or those twos. 8.6% expected move, $41.99, and $35.35 is going to be your low. We'll do one more here. Uber. Wednesday morning, we're going to go through over these names throughout the week as well, too, guys, so don't worry about that. 6.5% expected move with a high of around 86.87 and a low of around 76.27. Now, Eli Lilly, will go two more. LLY, Eli Lilly. Let's see what we got going on here. 5.6% expected move with a high of around $1,113, $1,113, and then $994. At the money IV right now, 71.7. But this is the most anticipated one, in my opinion, and that is going to be Alphabet. What do we got going on here, Sharif? 5.7% expected move with a high of around $362 and a low of around 323 smackers.
That's going to be interesting, man. I can't wait for
Cloud.
those earnings. Yeah, you got to see exactly how that cloud is doing, because it's always in focus. And we saw Microsoft sell off aggressively on a weaker cloud revenue number, even though, you know, it was really it was really weaker. It was growing at 38% instead of 40. Right?
Bro, wasn't it 39% there?
Something like that. I think maybe the guide was
I'm like,
38.
yeah. It's like, come on, what are we really crying about here?
Well, yeah, man, but you know, the valuations price in those higher numbers. So when the higher numbers don't manifest, the market corrects. Guys, KOLD setting up for a possible re-entry over here. It did dip down a little bit, regaining its footing. It did breach prior bar low, which is why I got out, because I was looking for the hold to trend. But I think it's still definitely possible that this one could squeeze into 21, 22. It's up 50% on the day, 49.63%. And it looks like it might be recovering. Current bar, I'll just give you the technicals here on KOLD. By the way, let me just throw that on the side chart so that it updates the data. So current bar high, 35. Current bar low, 24. We're showing 33s right now. Let's see if we can kind of get back above that 41 penny area. That could be an interesting entry. So I'll pack my patience on that. Fuse has lost all the levels, so that one is no longer of interest to me. AQST, this one is though. So I had my initial entry for this one was a 4.25 breakout, but then it really wasn't doing anything anything that even remotely looked like a breakout, because it had an unbroken sort of lower high, lower high, lower high, and then it found a bit of a consolidative range over here. Now it's kind of doing the opposite. Now it's putting in some higher lows, and it's above that 10 EMA again, but we're still not above the area high. So that's a very, very clear area high on the day, that 439 high, which ended up being the official high day, because all these prints over here, these are pre-market highs, so they don't count until they're breached, you know, technically during the trading day. So I'm trying to think of possibly a way to work into this. I can give it to prior bar low, current bar low, but you know, it does have a way to bamboozle you. Take a look at that candle right there, topping tail, goes through 4.25, drops all the way down, loses 20 penny. So I don't want to give it, I don't want to be too tight in how I trade AQST, but yeah, the pickings have been a little slim today. Let's keep an eye on this one. Now, if I get in here, I'll just give it to a 20 penny area low. It's found support there. We're going to give this one a try here on AQST for a possible move into that $0.33. Let's go ahead and post at that level. And then if it loses 20, I'm out. So we're going to throw in that order right now so that we can lock in the stop. So there it is. And we'll keep an eye out on that. Simultaneously looking at KOLD, doji candle that closed at 1245, high of which is 35, low of which is 24. So I'm looking for this one to break prior bar high, as I mentioned, 35. So let's see if we can get a breakout trade on this one. It'll only be for a penny. So there we go. We'll put 2036 for a take of the prior bar high, and then we won't give it much in the way of room at all. We'll insist that it fill us near that price. Now, if that doesn't hold, I'm looking at that 2010 area where the 10 EMA on the 5 is. That could be an interesting area here on KOLD. If it doesn't hold there, then you should be looking at 20 to about 19.75 to 20. That's a buy zone. You see the breakout level above 19.75, with the $20 level obviously being that psychological area of resistance or support. So be on the lookout for that. Keeping an eye here on AQST, moving up into 29s, nothing in the 30s. We're waiting at the $0.33. If AQST wakes up, I'll get into this one, but it's broken my heart before. This one, you think that it's breaking trend with the lower highs, and then it lures you in, puts in another lower high, and then, you know, gets you offside. So be careful with this one. AQST up 45%. Just looking at the top screen to see if there's any new ones weaseling in. MRNO, dogs, all those ones are not tradable. They're either below technical levels or they're light on volume and don't fit the profile for my trading style. Just keeping a look here at the scanner on the top, looking for ones that are doing volume. And really nothing's cutting it here, Joey. So we're gonna have to be super careful about what we trade for the rest of the afternoon, because the pickings are slim, man. The pickings are slim. So what are you looking at? We're gonna set up for the news shortly.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we're gonna take one attempt here, guys. There's only a couple of cents worth of risk here on the TQQs, the short. Tesla's breaking higher. We've seen NVDA slowly start to come in a little bit here. So, I mean, what are we're gonna give it 10 cents. So 7 more cents, and I'm out of dodge here on this TQQs. And then I think we're just gonna try to avoid the short for now. We do have this consolidative top, right? So I was like, oh, okay, nice little pop up. Let's get involved on that uptick and then see if we can get a little bit of a move lower. But I don't know if that's gonna necessarily be the case. And we don't wanna fight the trend, right? So we'll take our one stab at it. 5 more pennies. We're out of dodge. We'll be out of it as quick as you'd like. And yeah, just not try to make things overly difficult. It's either it's going to break down or you might take that additional leg higher. And it looks like that is going to be the case. It might slowly go against us here as NVDA and the big boys are climbing. All right, so let's get prepared to get out of this as soon as it hits that 58, 10 cents. Oh, boom. Yeah, let's get out even a little bit earlier because we're going to break higher here. Looks like we're going to put in a new high of the day. So it's just like a little paper cut, a slap on the wrist for attempting to short the TQQs all the way up here as the big boys want to continue to climb. Now, we have SLB just essentially stuck in limbo. Let's get the TQQs off of our screen here, just so we don't continuously try, right? You know what I mean? We're not frustrated or anything. I thought that would be a move. We would see somewhat of a pullback, but it just may not be that session. So if there's anything else, guys, that you want to look at, Palantir still moving sideways. It's been an eastward movement here on PLTR. Again, not much price action going on here, guys. You only have like a couple dollar range here in Palantir, but new HOD, we know Katina Man's along from the teens on Tesla. So a nice look there, my friend, as it continues to just slowly grind higher. And I had a strong hunch that we were going to continue on from yesterday's price action. It's unfortunate that Friday's price action, we give up the majority of it and then some. But now we're starting to recover, and I think this could be a good target on Tesla. You get that gap fill, $428. And same thing might be on the Qs. Did we fill that gap just yet on the 5-minute? Oh yeah, long time ago. That was filled earlier in the day. A nice strong engulfing print, and then sure enough, you get that move higher. Let's pull up our Tesla trade. We never re-engaged in this one, even though it was on the top of our list. TSLL, and there's some opportunities. It did stop us out, and I made a slight error here, and this was not getting in on my full position. We would have got that move all the way up into 33s, but that wasn't the case. But I'm like, oh, hey, nice consolidation. You formed that ABCD pattern. I'm like, let's get involved at the break of that 1-minute high, and then we got a nice pop to the top side, but eventually it did come in against me, and then it did rebound. But now a nice steady grind higher. I'm going to give you $1. No, not quite. Only about 50 cents there on TSLL. Does MU look overbought? Let's take a look. MU and U and new. Okay, stop. Let's put up Micron. It's tough to say, right? Like, there it is, a nice climb, just following the Nasdaq here, guys. And from a daily perspective, we can take a look at that. Yeah, you're heading, at this pace, I think you head into a new all-time high. You had 455, you get that pull back to 404, 10%, but then you kind of just climb right back to where you previously opened at on Friday. I think by the end of the week, you get a new all-time high there in MU. Other than that, guys, we're still sitting in SLV. Doesn't look like it wants to break down, or we're going to hit that $68 mark at this point. There could be an add opportunity, but 70.50 holding up well. So we have buyers starting to engage back in silver, which is totally fine. We're sitting on 40% of our position, and we've been in it since earlier this morning. So we won't complain about it whatsoever. Half decently day green. I haven't even looked at my P&L, but considering the Nasdaq is going to be the only loss, and this is what you get out when you're supposed to, right? Like there it is. We get out. It climbs significantly higher, goes up to 70s roughly, a little bit under that, Sharif. And I'm like, yeah, the short just didn't work. This consolidation wasn't going to break down. And as we get involved is when it really started to climb higher. So we're happy to get out of that one.
All right, guys, finally getting a bit of a dub here. KOLD looking real good, taking out the $0.50. We added a couple of times into the mid-20s. And then again into the mid-30s. Here comes that 55 penny. In fact, 55 pennies is the high of the day, 20.55. KOLD on the MX is up 51.25%. And it's a penny off the high. So let's see where this one is going to squeeze. It's a very, very clean hold of the 10 EMA on the 5. Doesn't breach it at all. So good luck here for KOLD. We're looking for a little bit more on this bad boy. But I also want to keep my eye here on AXTI. So this one did break trend. It's on the way to $0.75, but I know what it did. I know what you did last summer, baby. 12 o'clock, it popped up into that 12 3/4 and lost it. So here's the deal. We're gonna give this one a little bit higher than 12 3/4. We're going to go 77s. Let's see if we can get in and around there. And if AXTI wants to run, then we want to run with it. But there goes KOLD into another area high, 2060 now on the inverse Nat Gas ETF. Yeah, Nat Gas has been bleeding its own blood. Probably makes sense, right? The cold spell is over. The forecast is showing, you know, a little bit of easing. Not here. We're going to get cold again. Right now, it's okay. But apparently it's going to go back double digits again, below zero. But I don't think that that's going to be the case for the majority of North America. So if that is in fact right, then maybe we're going to see a big drop on nat gas, and we're seeing it today, man. Where the hell is UNG at? Like UNG is not leveraged. UNG is down 25% in a day, and then that is what they call this the widowmaker, man, because you get clipped if you get caught on the wrong side of this one. So we're going to try to be on the right side of KOLD here and try to take it north of 60. We got AQST long at 27s, but this one is going to either taking out 439 high or we're getting the hell out. So it's got to hold up above 20. And last but not least, AXTI. I think we just got long there. It did get long. It triggered me on the breakout trade. Let's go ahead and post right now at some technical levels, and we're going to go into the high 80s as well. Let's see what AXTI has to offer. It's got a nice little structure there off that 21 1/4 low, but it really does need to close above this level. I'm talking about the 80 penny area to kind of show that, you know, the lower highs are done. If it doesn't do that, I'm out. Not going to fall in love with it. So keep an eye on that. And we'll start the news momentarily, guys, as we're about 1 to 1 at the moment. But let's let some of these trades resolve. Your boy Joey Opsh looking silver short. I'm looking cold long. So very much these commodities in play today, whether or not, you know, they're small cap gapper related.
Like it or not.
They're trading like them today, some of these ones. So we're gonna treat them like that, Joey.
Absolutely.
So that's the situation there. So let's let some of these trades resolve, and then we'll jump into the news. Obviously, it's going to be a big week. What percentage of the Nasdaq is reporting? Like 20%, 30% this week,
I mean,
something like that?
We got AMD, we have Google, we have ARM. I think those are probably some of the bigger names.
Some of the bigger names. We got Amazon, we got Google. Right, it's going to be definitely an interesting week. So you got to be with us every day, man, because, well, these markets, they wait for nobody. By the way, the market recap show is back during earnings week, or earnings period. So when we have big earnings names like we do today, Palantir after the bell, the market recap show is back. So make sure to hang out with us and everybody at around 4 o'clock. We're going to be covering Palantir's earnings. I believe they're slated to come out at about 5 after close, so 4 or 5, give or take. So make sure you're around with us there for that. 25% says Skate Nick 66. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. The fact check there. All right, let's see how we're doing on KOLD. We're doing okay on KOLD. How about AXTI? We're waiting for a print into 82. Nothing doing there. Showing me 80s right now. Nothing printing, but I'm looking for this one to continue on, possibly taking out the official high day, which is 2220. It hasn't looked this good in a while, so let's see if we get caught offside here or what the situation is going to be, but we're definitely trying to put the odds in our favor here by taking this bad boy long above a key technical level, Joey. Send it to you while I set up.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. So we're going to take one more attempt on this. If we break the high of the day, there goes NVDA continuing to climb up to 190s. It just might not be the thing. And just taking the ticker off your side charts is just really going to help you not trade it. So yeah, we'll remove this. I liked our chances. We got instantly ITM on that, but it looks like we want to continue this grind, right? Silver taking a nosedive, so maybe we add a little bit more at this $71 break. It's been treating us really well here today, so we'll continuously hold on to it. 61. I mean, we're in at 55, 58. We're out at 68s here, guys. That's going to put us a little bit past the high of the day. Same thing, 10 cents worth of risk. We get that breakdown or we don't. So, and it's not looking like it right now as we kind of putting in that additional leg. Really, really tough vehicle sometimes to manage into short. So yeah, it is what it is. We're not going to complain about it whatsoever. Not a horrible day. We got silver moving lower, right? We had a little bit of a scalp on Tesla, but this is the big mover. So from the peak to the trough, we get from $73 all the way down to $68.50, right? So that's not a bad move whatsoever. Losing 10 cents, 20 cents here and there on the TQQQ as opposed to catching dollars. So what I was saying to Katina Man the other day, I was tripping over dollars to collect pennies, but this time I'm just literally jumping over these pennies, getting out of the TQs with the 10 cents, but collecting dollars here on SLV. So that's the narrative. It doesn't always work like that. It's not necessarily the case, but we're putting ourselves in the right place at the right time. And silver has been definitely in play as of late. I talked to you guys on why I haven't been trading Bitcoin, right? It's really just a narrative of being in play or not. And it is going to the downside. You see the increases in volume, but I would prefer to go long on Bitcoin. That's just me personally, considering it is my largest holding in the long term, and it hasn't been performing very well at all. Like it's the polar opposite, actually. Speaking of the devil, let's pull up MicroStrategy. It's soon going to be micro gone at some point. Report MSTR. This thing is down to $144. People are saying Bitcoin was climbing here today, but yeah, this is absolutely disastrous.
GameStop's going, bro.
Is it like
GameStop's 7%?
yeah,
it's taking out intraday high, man. GameStop is going, guys. So something to look out there. Okay, so we got to go to Adara.
So here's a story in GameStop. It's admittedly a very weird one. I'm just seeing now, I guess, circulating. This is from 4 hours ago from an individual named Charles V. Payne, but this is just, again, being reposted right this second. This individual saying that there's a development on GameStop. He's not going to be interviewing Ryan Cohen today because Ryan is working on something, quote, monumental, and he would not be able to say much. So, again, this is about a 4-hour post, but this journalist, again, on X, by the name of Charles V. Payne, indicating that there is a, quote, monumental development being worked on from GameStop CEO Ryan Cohen. I do want to mention, yes, this is a 4-hour-old headline, but it is being recirculated now, and hence the reason for this move higher. Back to you.
GameStop development. I'm not going to interview Ryan Cohen today. Ryan is working on something monumental, and he would not be able to say much. We both agreed that, quote, I cannot answer that on advice of counsel is the last thing anyone wants to hear. I'm on pins and needles like everyone else. Hope to have the news and the interview soon, Payne said in the next post. What the hell is this kind of weirdness, dude? All right, man, whatever. What are they going to do, man? Are the games going to play themselves? Like, what's going to happen here?
I don't even think if they were to close all their brick and mortar and just go straightly online, I don't think that saves the company.
I don't even know, man. I have no idea. All right, Joey, let's get right down to work. Let's talk about NVIDIA. All right, so NVIDIA and OpenAI, possibly some tension. NVIDIA still down on the day, about 0.6%. Let's talk about the headline is Assassino. NVIDIA shares traded lower in the pre-market. They're still lower, by the way, after reports suggested its proposed $100 billion investment into OpenAI is not finalized, which is creating, that short-term uncertainty around one of the most high-profile AI partnerships, and that's because they have a lot invested. They already threw money at them for that 10 gigawatt AI computing capacity back in September, alongside another potential of investment of $100 billion. According to the journal, the Wall Street Journal, that is, internal discussions indicated the investment was non-binding, with the deal structure and final sizing still under negotiation. That's according to reports. You got to believe that to move on with that thinking. Now, CEO Jensen, again, reportedly, underline that word, reportedly, raised concerns late last year around OpenAI's strategic discipline. I want to know what that means, Jensen. And the competitive landscape, that kind of we get, including pressure from, we've been reporting on this for a while, the likes of Google, Anthropic, Grok. I'm paying now for the paid version of Grok. I think it's amazing. And yeah, I personally feel the best days are behind chat, at least for now. It could catch up, but there's a lot I don't like about chat lately. Here's what Jensen said over the weekend. He publicly, Jensen that is, denied the claims of dissatisfaction with OpenAI, and he called the reports of tension, quote, nonsense, all while reiterating that the final investment may not actually reach that $100 million billion top line number. It may be less than that. He did emphasize NVIDIA's long and strong partnership relationship with OpenAI and confirmed the company will make its largest ever investment as a part of the ongoing fundraising round led by Altman and company. But investors focused on the uncertainty around the deal size rather than the strategic intent of NVIDIA, with mixed public comments adding, that short-term headline risk. Joseph, we have been talking a lot about OpenAI and maybe some of its best days are behind it. Here's my beef with OpenAI, and I have no personal beef with Altman. I thought he was quite clever and definitely had first mover advantage. I go and I try to get data. Yeah. Right? That data, Joey, is publicly available on Google search. You see the website, it's got the data. But chat, for whatever reason, thinks that the data that I'm trying to ask for is proprietary. So it tells me, look, I got the data, I've trained on the data. Alas, I can't give you the data because the data is paid. I don't want to get dinged. And that's just one of the many different things that chat seems to suck with these days, in addition to changing the formatting of summaries. And it's just, I feel like it had better days. What's your opinion on this?
I mean, I agree with you. Currently, it's going through a little bit of a rough stretch, in my opinion, but we're still pretty early days, Sharif. I mean, this thing's only been around for a couple of years at this point. It's definitely going through a rough stretch. But what we have noticed here is in this LLM game and AI is that names typically leapfrog each other, right? Like we're seeing OpenAI was at the top of the list for quite some time. Gemini coming into play. Now we have Claude as an agent. Grok is starting to gain some ground as well too. Poor old Llama's not even really in the race at this point. But I wouldn't be surprised if at some point, maybe a little bit further down the road than what we're expecting, OpenAI, considering the funding rounds that they're going to need to really step up their game. And I think at some point it may be able to sit in that second place. Gemini is going to be tough to beat, in my opinion, but I still think you're going to see that late leapfrog between some of these big players. I'm not going to write them off just yet. It's still too early.
And I want to say one other thing, that if you're looking for up-to-date information, like you're trying to find out more information on a news story that's current, that may, the data is not included in the article and you're looking for more, Gemini seems to be the best of the bunch. And that does make sense because it's working off Google search. And that is the biggest pool cache of information, current information, mind you, right? Because it indexes these websites super quick. So I feel there is a decided advantage lately anyway for Google when you're looking for up-to-date information about, a news catalyst, this, that, anything up-to-date, Google seems to be the best at. And what I love about it is I know a lot of the other LLMs are doing this, but it cites the source a little bit better than some of the other ones. So you're able to go directly to the article. I know the other ones do this as well, but I like the way that Gemini formats it a bit better. So this is kind of what I'm seeing here, that Gemini is quick when it comes to the breaking news world or the rapidly developing news catalyst for that. That was just my opinion.
We were talking about this for quite some time. Just data. Google always had the advantage just due to the pool of data that they've had.
That's exactly
right? So it's not overly surprising to see them at the top of the throne at this point. But again, with the funding rounds and the more data that obviously OpenAI collects, I think they have a good opportunity to just be that company that people are predicting them to be. It's just going to be so hard to beat Alphabet, which is just the giant of giants right now.
Speaking of Alphabet, Joey, we've got a couple of different Alphabet headlines today, but before we do that, KOLD's continuing to run, guys. Into the high of the day goes to 2077 right now, back up into 75. I don't even have any orders out here on KOLD, so let's throw in some at 82s, and we're going to wait at 88. It's a nice move today on Nat Gas. This is an inverse ETF, of course, so Nat Gas is heading down. Let's go on, then talk about the couple of news headlines. First, positive here for Google. They avoid a $2 billion plus penalty in the privacy case. So we talked to you guys about this last week. A federal judge in San Fran rejected a consumer's request to impose more than $2 billion of additional penalties tied to Google's past data collection practices. The court declined to order that $2.36 billion in alleged profit disgorgement, Joey, disgorgement. and refused to block certain ad-related data practices. Here's the background of the case. In September, a jury found Google liable for collecting app activity data from users who had disabled a key privacy setting. The jury awarded roughly about $425 million in damages, but that's far below $31 billion sought by plaintiffs. Oh, this has lawyers written all over it. Plaintiffs argued Google continued its data practices without changing the disclosure for clients, while Google denied any wrongdoing. And they said, look, man, we're going to appeal that stupid September verdict. So they're coming back hard. The judge ruled, though, in the case of this $2 billion plus damages, that the plaintiffs failed to show what they're called prospective irreparable harm, which is a key requirement for that permanent injunction. The court also said consumers' estimate that the consumers' estimate of Google's alleged profits were insufficiently supported by the evidence. And Google, for their part, they argued that blocking account-related data collection would cripple analytics services relied upon by millions of different apps that use it, a concern the judge appeared to accept. So the judge rejected Google's request to decertify the class as well, which includes about 98 million users and about 174 million devices. I'm just going to go on to the next one, then we'll talk about Google as a whole. Waymo's valuation, much more positive here for a story. Bloomberg is reporting that Waymo is exploring raising $16 billion at a value of approximately $110 billion, which is up sharply from prior raising rounds. The implied valuation would be about 144% from late 2024 levels when it was valued about $45 billion. We know Alphabet controls Waymo, and Alphabet themselves expected to participate in this latest funding round. Should tell you that. Waymo declined to comment, suggesting, the discussions are still exploratory, so nothing certain there. More information that we'll give you on Waymo's operations, currently operating fully autonomous ride-hailing in 5 U.S. cities, and they complete about 450,000 driverless rides per week. Additional city launches are planned, many, in fact, Toronto being one of them, with the expansion remain, though, very, very capital intensive, not least of which because they're using Jaguar I-Paces and refitting them. I think they're about $250,000, $300,000 a pop. Compare that, with the Cybercab, Robotaxi is going to be probably 35 some odd thousand. So Google's got to get their costs in order here if they're going to make this a sound, profitable business. Competitive landscape. Let's talk a little bit about Tesla. They launched their Robotaxi service in Austin in June, and they plan, according to the company, to operate in 9 cities by the middle, not the end, the middle of this year. 9 cities, they're in 2, officially only in 1. Waymo prioritizes, the contrast here between the two is that Waymo prioritizes safety-first geofence autonomy, while Tesla is emphasizing rapid iteration and broader scalability. At about $110 billion, Joey, if you were to give Waymo that valuation, it would be about a little bit less than 3% of Google's market cap. Okay. So if you just look at the Waymo, 110 billion, not the 40 some odd, but a little bit less than the $4.1 trillion market cap, making it financially non-critical. By comparison, robotaxis, though, are far more central to Tesla's long-term bull case. You got to make the argument that autonomy makes up a large portion of Tesla's market cap because, well, we see that the cars ain't cutting it anymore. Quite frankly, they're declining in terms of sales. So more on the line for autonomy here for Tesla than certainly for Google.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's why you remain so forward-looking in Tesla, right? Like, we know that the car business is losing share left, right, and center. And obviously dwindling margins as well, too. But we've been talking about this for quite some time. We know just the production capabilities. If this thing really takes off and Elon continues to expand his geofence, watch out for robotaxis. It's going to be significantly cheaper. Obviously, from a production standpoint, Shreve said, hey, it's about $230K per Waymo vehicle, opposed to Tesla be able to make these things for less than $40,000. That's going to be massive from a margin standpoint and obviously from the ability to expansion. Technology is slightly different, so that's going to come into play as well, too. But whatever, if it's only 3% of Google's market cap and we're heavily more weighted onto Tesla, obviously we know that Elon is going to be placing, he's all in on autonomy and essentially robotics. But with Google, you're not seeing that necessarily the same. But What it will do for this name is essentially a tech ETF. If you ask me, it's going to be one of their faster growing segments. But I don't think we see the autonomous sector being extremely profitable for the next 3 or 4 years, Sharif. They need to expand more. They're only in 5 cities.
They're trying to say Tio Mafino tried to bite him, bro. Look at that. He almost did a Tyson there on his shoulder, his trap.
Nah, it was AI, man.
Look at that. No, it's not AI, man. Come on, we could watch this live. Me and your boy Joey Options watch this fight live.
I don't think, but his mouth was closed.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
A little bit interesting there.
But yeah, I mean, like obviously with growing on, I think it's the way of the future. A lot of people are going to want to own autonomous vehicles. Where are they going to be spending all that money on Waymos? No, I don't know if they're going to be outside of commercial. Like, could you buy a Waymo? No, exactly, right? So I think you can, your total TAM for Tesla is a little bit bigger in my opinion.
All right. We got the super. Shout out to Zen. Zenzo, let me just get the name super quick over here. So, Zen Zombie, appreciate you, man. $2 super chat. With Fuse, what the hell? Fuse up then liquidated. Yeah, that is the world of small cap gappers, my friend. Do not fall in love with these things. They will break your heart. They're around for a good time, not a long time. Make sure you're trading them with sound risk management skills. Let's look at FUSE. Is it still up on a trading screen? No, I took it off because it's basically losing the entire bid. Take a quick look here at FUSE on the Nasdaq. Yeah, man, volume weighted average price 274. It's below that, so it's on Uncle Sheriff's shit list at the moment. And also, it hasn't broken that downtrend that we've been talking about. That stays unbroken right here, which is a symphony of lower highs. For save and except for these two candles, the 1110, the 1115 candle, unbroken to the downside. This is where I got in initially, and then I was just like, oh yeah, okay, it'll just be a liquidity grab here, and then we'll head along on our merry way to the high side, and that's why I went negative on the name. And this one is my biggest loser on the day, FUSE. So yeah, first 2 letters of that ticker. You know. Let's go on to the next story, Joey. We'll talk a little bit about Apple winning a favorable tax ruling in India, which will help accelerate the iPhone manufacturing there. So India's government approved a major tax clarification for Apple, which allows foreign companies like Apple to supply manufacturing equipment to contract partners without triggering income tax exposure for 5 years. So the rule change removes Apple's concern that owning these high-end iPhone machines in India, where they've shifted a lot of the iPhone production, could be classified as a business connection, potentially taxing iPhone profit pool. And that would obviously hurt into margins. So the exemption here applies only to customs bonded manufacturing zones, apparently where the Apple is setting up these production sites, which are treated like outside of India's regular custom and border and taxing zones. So Apple is aggressively, as we talked about, diversified away from China, where about 75% of the global iPhone shipments still originate. My understanding is the majority of the iPhones that come into the United States now, most of them are from, from India. India's share of the global iPhone shipments has surged to about 25%. That's up from single digits back in 2022, now healthy in double-digit territory, while iPhone domestic market shares also doubled to 8%. So not only are they building more in India so they can skirt tariffs on China, but the Indian market as well is starting to buy more iPhones, which is something that India is they're kind of a stickler about that, right? We saw them with Tesla saying, if you want to sell Teslas here, tariff-free or low tariffs, you got to build them here, telling Elon that when he met with Modi. So this is not something that India is only doing for Apple. It's kind of like a general policy. Previously, contract manufacturers like Foxconn and Tata that Apple uses were forced to absorb billions of dollars in machinery costs due to tax uncertainty. So that will not be the case anymore. So if they're not absorbing billions of dollars, they can pass off those savings to Apple. They pass off those savings to Apple. That increases margins. One could deduce. The exemption is going to run through 2030 to 2031. Devices sold domestically from bonded zones will still face import duties, and the change lowers upfront costs for Apple and peers by allowing them to directly fund expensive tooling and production equipment. Joey.
Good stuff there, guys. Sorry, I was just managing a position. Let's pull them up. We're getting that tank in silver once again, heading towards that $69 mark. A little bit of a bounce there, guys. But the TQQQ is really starting to work for us. 215 Sugar Tree, much appreciated, brother. Let's go. Let's rock and roll. I mean, we're in at roughly just a little bit below 60s. We take some off at 44s, so not too bad of a move. We get stopped out when we were supposed to. Re-engage on this, and we never got stopped out at that 10-cent mark. So let's go. Let's see if we can continue to move to the south side. Our next stop is going to be at 55.40s there in the TQQQs. We got a super chat here. Let's pull that up there. Assassino, if you can, ever so kindly. Gorav, let's go. Gorav, I know it was short hood, man, but that's my guy. Shout out to Creatine Bros. God Candle on Palantir in the pre-market. Thank you for that one. Bang, 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 bang. Let's go, Patrick. Yeah, let's take some more out on the TQQQs. As for Apple and India, I mean, I'm glad that they're starting to sway away from moving the supply chain. It's a smart strategic move, and we know it's an emerging market as well, too. So a lot that they can address in India, and it's going to continue to grow. They were one of the first mega cap names to actually step into India, and I like that move from Mr. Cook himself.
Yeah, all right. Let's go on to the next story, man. Bitcoin. Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah. Where's the coin at? Well, back up to 78.5. Well, still below 80,000 though for the first, well, it broke through 80,000 for the first time since the tariff tantrum in April of last year, hitting an intraday low, according to this article, of $74,876 before modestly bouncing. It's about $4,000 on top of that right now at 78,448. And it's dropped about 12% over the past 7 days. And that sell-off, that 12% drop, erased more than $200 billion in total Bitcoin market value. Hence, I didn't say market cap. There's nothing to capitalize there. Analysts are pointing to a broad risk-off shift across global markets as opposed to any, crypto-specific stress. The forced liquidations, though, this is where we see a lot of retail getting caught offside. We're going to talk about that when we get back from Madeira.
Yeah, so to let you guys know here, we're getting some comments from Fed's Bostic. Now, I haven't mentioned these yet because he actually is no longer a member of the Fed, technically speaking. He doesn't step down till the end of this month, but he is obviously not going to be able to vote or participate in the March meeting as a result. So he is functionally no longer a member of the Fed. But regardless, Fed's Bostic making some fairly hawkish comments saying that he did actually not. He predicted 0 rate cuts throughout the year 2026. He said that they need to keep the policy rate in a mildly restrictive stance and that it would be very unlikely to get inflation down to 2%, so that they need to be very patient. But either way, highlighting that moving in any direction at this point would not be prudent. So again, Fed's Bostic, technically a former Fed Bostic, making some hawkish comments right now. Back to you.
You know what that is, bro. Yeah, so let's talk about the forced liquidations, because that's where a lot of retail gets caught offside, and it obviously had a way of amplifying volatility. Forced liquidations are typically margin calls, and apparently $2 billion in Bitcoin longs and short positions were liquidated since Thursday, and then Saturday alone, and we talked about this on Friday, where Bitcoin seems to have the most volatility is on the weekends as a result of the illiquidity. It happened again with Saturday, seeing Saturday alone, I don't even have the Sunday data yet, $2.56 billion in crypto liquidation. So that includes everything, including Bitcoin, ranking among the 10 largest single-day events on record, $2.56 billion in liquidations in the global current crypto market. So, there's policy and there's sentiment headwinds. We talked about this in the morning. Investors are reassessing the macro policy risks ahead of Kevin Warsh's succession of Jerome Powell in May. Digital asset investments products, posted a second straight week of outflows, totaling about $1.7 billion, bringing the year-to-date outflows to about $1 billion. But Joey, we've talked a lot about this. Kevin Warsh has, I don't want to say a checkered history. It's not really checkered, but he was basically known as a hawk for a long time. He was on the committee.
In the crypto space you're referring to?
No.
In general. Yeah.
He was on the committee during the GFC. He didn't want to cut rates around that time when there was, all sorts of people who wanted easing. He stuck to his guns. He seems to be, the person who wants restrictive rates and small Fed balance sheets. Yeah. That really doesn't jive with the position that President Trump has at the moment.
Exactly. So why would
who is this guy?
So why would he appoint?
Who is he going to be?
Do you think that Donald Trump would appoint this guy to Fed chair if he didn't think he was kind of stick with the Trump agenda? Right? Mm-hmm. Do you think
I don't think he would.
Kind of swaying and changing his book?
Can you imagine?
Like, think about it.
He'd be public enemy number one for President Trump.
Dude, as soon as this guy, I think that was mine, but that's all right. I tried.
You're too late, bro.
Bro, I don't know what you're doing. I'm like, all right, anyways,
I just see it over there. My bad.
Anyways.
Throw it out.
Aside from that,
My
like
bad.
this guy's no, don't worry about it. It's water. But Trump will, Trump is immediately. It's going to be a truth. And if he doesn't cut, like think about how many meetings he goes through. If he doesn't cut until 2027, you're not going to hear the end of it.
Oh God.
And do you think that he would appoint this guy if he wasn't going to stick to his agenda?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But he's in office and he becomes a wild card at that point, right? You don't know what the hell he's going to do.
Yeah.
But it's super interesting.
This side of the screen.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. All right, we added a little bit here into the cold position, into that move into the 10 EMA on the 5, and here it comes again into 59. Let's wet the beak. Let's put in some profit takers here into the mid 60s, high 60s, low 70s. There comes 59. There's 60. Looking for a continuation into the high of the day, which is 77s, by the way. There's 60 again. Looking for the move back up. I changed my cost basis, obviously, because we added at the higher level, but we're looking for this one to continue to run KOLD inverse nat gas ETF. Let's talk about gold and silver unwinding sharply. Where are they at? Silver down, SLV anyway, down 7 3/4. GLD down 4 1/3. Ooh. Well, they did fall. Spot gold prices fell as much as 5% Monday before stabilizing around 4,700. I have to look at what the futures show there. I don't have it right now. Silver also remained under pressure, lost about 12%. Looks like they parsed some of those losses, but both of them got clipped on Friday, with silver losing about 30% at the lows and gold losing about 10%. So the metals were already weak going into the weekend. And the US dollar, as we've been talking about, inversely correlated with the strength or weakness, inversely correlated in general with these metals, strengthened about 0.8% since Thursday. A firmer dollar, according to this article, reduces foreign demand for gold and silver and raises the opportunity cost versus yield-bearing assets like treasuries because they pay yield. So something we were talking about as well, Joey, with Bitcoin when it sold off very aggressively. The CME group has raised margin requirements now after this violent move. So as a result of Friday's sell-off, to get into gold, you got to basically, your margin increased from 2.8% from 6%, and likewise with silver, even a bit higher to 15% from 11%, forcing leverage players to kind of de-risk. Could this be some of the reason we're selling off a little bit?
Yeah, I think so, Sharif. A lot of that, and obviously the momentum to the downside as well, too. I think this is going to be a big-time play here, and you would never expect that. Personally, I haven't experienced anything along those lines in the commodities, but that's who I would least expect it from. And it's unfortunate when you go on these monster runs, that just happens to be the case, is that you have that aggressive selling, and 40% off of those highs is unfortunate, but just the deleveraging, I think, is really important. So it was the same thing with kind of the hedge funds going on with GameStop and AMC. It's like, okay, we can't allow this to continuously happen and these hedge funds lose billions and billions of dollars, so we need to implement some more regulation, and that's kind of what they've done here.
Yeah, and that's kind of their go-to move. Or as soon as that stuff happens, you know, they're
like, all right, yeah, we got to put an end to it really, really quick.
We saw it with Bitcoin.
And then obviously we have that guy from China he's just decided to up from his desk and leave. So.
Where's what was her name again?
Sandra.
Oh, where's Sandra at now?
Ram blocked her. I allowed them to stay in the sky.
Yeah. So. All right, get them, Ram. Let's talk a little Oracle here, man. Where's ORCL at? It was up decent in the pre. Let's see if it's part of some of those gains. Yeah, it's down a little bit here. Only up 1% and change. Got to 175. Now it's lost about $10 off the top. About 166 and change. To go red, it's got to lose about 165 or so. 164 3/4. So they announced plans to raise about $45 to $50 billion in gross proceeds during the calendar 2026 to expand, of course, data center capacity. The funding is going to come from a mix of debt and equity, which immediately raises dilution and leverage concerns. As we know, the capital, though, is earmarked to meet contracted cloud demand. otherwise RPO, remaining performance obligations, signaling firm customer commitments but heavy upfront spend. So immediately, why would the market find this bullish? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, because maybe they didn't think that they'd be able to raise. Two, if they're actually spending the money, then those commitments might be a bit more firm, but we just haven't heard about them yet. Speculating, no idea. Oracle's cloud customers include big-time players like NVIDIA, Meta, OpenAI, AMD, TikTok, XAI. They all want a piece of Oracle. With TD Cowen also saying, look, Oracle needs to raise money. So they may be looking to lay off, sadly, 20 to 30,000 people to free up some capital, with the potential cost savings of those 20 to 30,000 layoffs being possibly $8 to $10 billion in free cash flow, which offsets a little bit of the heavy capex. Oracle did not comment publicly, leaving uncertainty around the matter. The stock is down nearly 50% from the September peak and fell another 11% after the December earnings. Investors are increasingly focused, though, on the dilution risk and the rising debt as Oracle goes in, quote, all in on AI infrastructure. Morningstar notes the AI trade is entering that do or die phase, Joey, forcing investors to pick winners and losers. And it looks recently, certainly, that Oracle has been a bit of a loser.
Yeah, I mean, just in order for this name to meet its obligations, obviously needs to spend a lot of money. But one thing I'm going to look at from a different perspective is once that infrastructure is there, they don't have to spend that money continuously. And then sure enough is when you can start to see somewhat of an ROI on that. It may take forever. This funding round is really important for, I think, this name. But if this trade is going to be in vogue for the next 5, 6, 7 years, then I think Oracle will be just fine, obviously getting involved with the TikTok deal as well, too. So just the infrastructure build-out costing them quite a bit right now, but it's not going to be the same throughout the next couple of years or so. It's just you spend it now, you spend the money now, and look for the return on investment later.
All right, guys, KOLD continue to go here. So it's about to take out that 70 penny area. Don't forget, 2077 high of day. Good hold off the 10 EMA and right back up about 53%. Keep your eye on KOLD. Adara, give us your take on Oracle.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on Oracle. Before we get to that, ALTS on the move. Apparently, Daniel Loeb will be attending this, who is the founder and CEO of Third Point, is going to be attending a World Liberty Financial Conference. So ALTS, which of course is involved with World Liberty Financial, is trading higher. Let's talk about ORCL, because Sharif and Joe, I know why this is up. And it actually was mentioned in our free watch list. Fitch, for whatever reason, decided to reiterate its outlook on Oracle. And that is why ORCL is to the upside. And you can actually see, when you look at the stock, you can really see when it started to get that push higher, because initially Oracle traded lower on this catalyst, as it should. Because, again, like my take on Oracle has very much been, how can you miss revenue, and in one case EPS, 2 quarters in a row and be higher than remaining performance obligations? That's great that you have sales coming. What sales do you have right now? And that, again, continues to be an issue for me. So I actually wonder, and this is complete conspiracy theory, but I do think there could be potentially some credence to it. Why are you, Fitch, raising your outlook on maintaining your outlook on Oracle's credit rating now of all times? Do you perhaps have a position you want to protect? Because that is when you get that sharp increase in ORCL pre-market. And I can't find it in this chart, but yeah, I guess actually you do get a bit of a gap up here. Either way, it was around 730. But the point is, this is quite the story here for Oracle. You get that news that the stock doesn't like, and then immediately you have a credit rating agency trying to protect it. Like, oh, don't worry, we still like this here with the BBB rating. So yeah, I mean, I think it is worth noting it is not correct to say that this is up on this buy, because it absolutely is not up. It is only up, and you can tell because of the price action, because of this credit rating. I do want to emphasize that. The market initially reacted very poorly, if you look at pre-market action, to Oracle's announcement that they're going to be raising more money. And honestly, as it should be. Back to you.
Sorry. All right, let's go on to Disney. Next story over here. Very interesting report from Disney. Let's see where they're up on the day. They're down significantly, 7%, driven primarily here. Well, they beat on the top and bottom line. It was driven by strong performance in their parks, their resorts, and their cruises division, with adjusted EPS coming in at $1.63. That is above the analyst estimates of $1.57 on revenue of $25.98 billion. That also beats the $25.75 expected by analysts, with that top line number rising about 5% year over year. About like we talked talked about, almost $26 billion. It was really a tale of a couple of stories here. The main one is their experiences unit, which generated a little bit less than $10 billion in quarterly revenue for the first time ever. And it was really supported by domestic parks mostly, with that delivering about $6.91 billion in revenue. That's up 7% year over year. Higher attendance, higher prices at the domestic parks, according to the report. International parks, way less in terms of top line revenue, but same growth rate, 1.75 billion in terms of revenue, also an increase of 7% year over year. Management flagged softer international visitation trends, which I guess, yeah, you can see by that top line number, but the growth rate is still pretty much the same. Segment operating income hitting 3.31 billion, roughly 3 times that of the entertainment division. So it gives you an idea how much they relied, I should say, on the experiences segment to kind of have that top and bottom line beat. Let's talk about that entertainment segment revenue. 7% year over year, now bringing in more than the experiences unit, 11.61 billion. That was helped by higher subs as well as affiliate fees. Their streaming revenue, 11% bump year over year on that top line number, which comes to more than $5.25 billion, while Disney's expecting about $500 million in streaming operating income to come in about fiscal quarter 2. Box office momentum continued following what the article is calling a dominant 2025, with the likes of Zootopia 2, the Avatar, Predator installment cited as drivers, and Disney, much like Netflix, is going to stop reporting subscriber numbers every quarter and then just kind of give it to us sporadically or maybe once a year, however they choose to do it. Let's talk about their sports, because that's one of the biggest CapEx usurpers that they have. Their revenue edged up only 1% year over year on the quarter, a little bit shy of 5 billion, 4.91, but operating income fell substantially in their sports division, down 23% now to 191 million. And the profitability here is being blamed by the higher programming and production costs that are tied to these new sports deals. That's something we talked about as well with, NBA, NFL, and everybody else wanting, bigger contract numbers to give you the deal. Top dollar. Disney did reaffirm plans to repurchase about $7 billion in stock during this year, and management does expect double-digit growth in adjusted EPS and about $19 billion in cash from operations for the full year. But the market not liking any of that, Joey, down 7%.
Yeah, I mean, as for its streaming business, we started to see it start to catch a little bit of a tailwind in the past couple of quarters. It was a hindrance on the stock for quite some time because they were losing money. They were having trouble competing with the big boys, obviously Netflix, Amazon Prime, that is. But one thing to note, I think it's really big on the sports deal is that they're kind of missing out on them. Obviously, we know that the UFC signing a deal with Paramount, not renewing with ESPN Plus, also giving them the ability to have the pay-per-view. No more pay-per-views there, or percentage of the pay-per-view, I should say. No more pay-per-views on Paramount Plus, just a one-time membership fee. Now, as for the parks continuing to grow, that's great in their segment. So Disney Plus, Disney, let's take a look at their technicals and see what we got going on. I mean, when we heard that Nelson Peltz obviously sold all of his shares, the stock did see a little bit of a pop, but other than that, the stock has been in big time trouble. I think it was somewhere in this was it in May or something along those lines when that happened? But anyways, that proxy war, that internal war with Nelson Peltz and obviously Iger's the CEO, right?
Yes.
It wasn't good, and it held this stock down for quite some time. Nelson Peltz is now all out. You're getting somewhat of a rebound. I think it's the parks that are really going to drive this thing.
Yeah.
Those things are cash cows. And the streaming, as they start to slowly grab a little bit more market share, the lineup in your catalog is absolutely massive. The Predator did half decently, but I wouldn't hold too much weight on it. I think it's the Avatar series and the Star Wars series, we know that they have the rights to that, is what can really, really drive the streaming business higher.
Well, they're basically saying that Avatar, that's the one.
Avatar is gonna be the one. Like Predator, it's like, okay, I get it, but it's not like it's not going to be like Predator is like Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator. So they got their spin-offs with that and stuff like that. So
let's talk a little Palantir. This one reports after the bell today, so make sure to catch that with us on the aftermarket show. Today, well, they already launched this in December, but I haven't reported on it too. So Chain Reaction, a new operating system for them that addresses the surging AI infrastructure demand. We know their main one is AIP, but there is this one as well, which is more for manufacturing than, operations, which AIP is focused on. So this new Chain Reaction platform is going to focus on coordinating power, compute, networking, construction workflows, all things that you need to scale the AI data center build out. And it supports like grid expansion and stability to meet rising demand from electrification and hyperscale data centers. Foundry, though, their other platform, AIP, is going to enable utilities and energy providers to plan and forecast capital-intensive projects more efficiently. Then we've also seen them kind of expand their current existing government contracts with the Department of Navy, with the U.S. Navy, I should say, renewing that $955 million contract. Also an option to extend that by $480 million. But it really has been their commercial revenue that grew at a faster CAGR last time around when we reported their earnings. So that's going to be in focus for me, whether or not Palantir's revenue growth, not top line number. We know the government top line number is probably going to come in a bit higher, but the revenue growth continues, commercial revenue continues to out accelerate government revenue. I personally would like that. I don't know how the street feels. In January, Palantir expanded its partnership with Hyundai, extending AI and Foundry adoption across subsidiaries. So that would be really interesting to see another tie-up with another, private company. And management emphasized applications across maintenance, supply chain planning, and manufacturing optimization. And this is what Palantir reported in their last for their Q4 revenue, a little bit shy of 1.1 billion, but finally above that $1 billion revenue number that had been eluding them for a while. And the adjusted EPS coming in at 21 pennies, which was also above estimates. U.S. revenue last time around, Joey, grew 77% year over year with 121% growth in U.S. commercial revenue. And that's really what I wanted to stress there, that commercial revenue I like a lot better, but I want to mention that government contracts a bit stickier than commercial contracts, so a good balance of both, I think, is healthy for the company. Palantir, my man, after the bell.
Palantir, and looking forward to that one. Obviously, we know we're starting to grow international as well too, Shreve. It was growing at like a 3% clip, striking deals with Japan, I believe, and Germany. So let's see if that's going to grow at somewhat of a sustainable rate. Anything more than 3%, I'm going to like that. Palantir, it's been like a lot of the other names, right? You got to take into consideration, it's just been on such a monster run in 2025 that things are going to cool down. You're now down to $149. I know a lot of people are saying, hey, Joe, what's going on with Robinhood? It's the same thing. Like, if you eliminate PLTR and just have the technicals on this point, I think you crack this 150 zone. It's the exact same thing as Robinhood. I know I'm comparing apples to oranges here, but at the end of the day, the technicals are the technicals. You get that breakdown. We head over to SoFi if we're looking at some of these fintech names, breaking through those support levels. So I think that's going to be the next step. Unless they get this monster outside move, outside of the expected move in Palantir, in the near future, I'm going to look for that breakdown, and maybe you can head into that $130, $120 mark there in Palantir.
Right.
Sorry, 1 second here, guys.
Do your thing.
I'm all out of the TQQs. I'm also all out of silver, right? So we got that move back. We didn't get that $80 price target that we were looking for earlier, but we were close enough. We held throughout the day. We got some off right there, nothing substantial, and then we closed the remaining 40% out on a trailing stop. So that's SLV, a nice solid one here for the day. And then we're also going to take a look at the TQQs. It took a couple of attempts for us to get this rocking and rolling, but eventually we got that move, and we get out 50% roughly, but then we get stopped out break even, which is totally fine. We get back what we lost here, and then a little bit more on the TQQs.
You see some of the cruise lines and the airlines today?
They're moving today.
They look fantastic. Look at this. AAL 4%, DAL 5, UAL almost 6. Love up 4 1/3. And then look, JetBlue, they're all up. CCL's 8%, RCL 4 1/3, NCLH 7 2/3. A lot of strength in travel. Do we get like some travel? Travel. It looks like there was a whole bunch of upgrades today for RCL from Goldman. Who else? There's others. JP Morgan. Okay. We'll keep an eye out on that. Guys, I'm still holding AQST. I don't think the position board is working, but we're going to wet the beak over here, looking for continuation into this one, into that 450 area. Let's set up some profit takers. Alas, this one has been a bit of a slow mover. But let's go on to the next story. U.S. oil I'm just looking here at USO, almost down 6%, so 5.86. Oil prices retreated sharply, according to this article, after U.S. President Donald Trump signaled a potential easing in tensions with Iran. Trump said Iran was, quote, seriously talking with the U.S., following comments from Iran that preparations for negotiations were underway. The remarks kind of reduced fears of a military confrontation that had recently pushed oil to 6-month highs. You had Brent drop about 5% in the pre. WTI had already lost 5%. And the move kind of reflects a rapid unwind of the geopolitical risk premium that had been built on the price of oil out of fears of a UN-Iran conflict. And so why was the market nervous? Well, oil had surged after the U.S. deployed a, quote, massive armada towards Iran, raising speculation of a possible strike. Iran warned that any attack could trigger a broader regional conflict, which would likely drive oil prices sharper, especially if the Strait of Hormuz gets blocked or there's any belligerencies there. Weakened diplomacy, though, shifted the sentiment towards de-escalation rather than escalation. Gotta love that. Well, you know, I think there are some Iranians, expats, that don't want to see that, but, you know, we'll have to wait and see how that works. Analysts note the U.S. administration is highly sensitive to rising oil prices ahead of upcoming midterm elections. Elevated fuel prices, you know, are politically unpopular. Obviously, Joey, the political backdrop may act as a brake on further geopolitical escalation in the Middle East. What say you, oil?
Yeah, Chevron got the downgrade today. I just think that the oil trade has been tough. We can take a look at XLE. You have the big names in there, like obviously ExxonMobil and some of these other big boys, right? So, okay, that's not too bad on XLE. You get a nice little pop here, Sharif, considering, right? There's an energy space. We'll head over to the 5-minute. Not too bad whatsoever, but if we take a look at CVX catching the downgrade today, recovering a little bit of that gap down. You have Exxon as well, too, ExxonMobil. Still not doing too much. And if you head over from a daily perspective, okay, that's a big-time breakout after a multi-year consolidation in ExxonMobil. So not too bad of a look. We have the TQQs at the high of the day as well, too. But, yeah, energy not looking too bad today.
Man, Caterpillar is up 4.5%
today.
It's going to take...
It's the picks and shovels of the build, though.
It's going to take out a third of a trillion.
Picks and shovels. And also, you know what I think a lot of it has to do is that Caterpillar can build their own energy grid.
Yeah.
So I think that's huge, right? Because with all these data centers,
bro.
Yeah, they do everything. Because
like
with the
heating,
data centers,
cooling,
I think a big issue with the data centers is being on grid.
Yeah,
right? So
for sure.
So if you have a participant like Caterpillar who has the ability to construct,
100% agree.
I think
it's been a monster, man. Just been insane. A lot of different analyst comments about this as well. Let's talk about Unity. BTIG reaffirmed its buy rating. And well, where is Unity first and foremost? Let's see if it's still up. It was up big in the pre. It's only up 1.44%. So definitely giving back. Actually sold off quite aggressively in the pre-market. Was that? No, that was not. It was Friday. It lost a lot. Dude, this thing lost over 25% on Friday. So Unity coming back from a very, very bad close of the week. Reaffirmed its buy rating in a $60 price target, implying about 106% upside from the pre-market level of 29.10. The stock's been hit really hard recently, again, down about 33% in the past week, last week that is, leaving it trading slightly below their fair value estimation, Investing Pro's fair value estimation. BTIG, the rating agency, argues recent weakness is disconnecting price from improving underlying fundamentals and product traction. That's what they're saying. Industry checks by BTIG showed about a 20% year-over-year growth and about a 10% year-over-year growth, quarter-over-quarter, I should say, in Unity spending during Q4. The growth, according to BTIG, was driven by renewed platform testing and stabilization after earlier execution issues. And for 2026, experts expect about an 18% year-over-year spending growth in that top line number for Unity, which would be an improvement from the prior expectations, but not a breakout year. So it looks like they've done better. Unity Vector, which is one of their platforms, delivered an initial 15 to 20% improvement in return on ad spend during earlier rollout phases. My experience here with Unity is basically when I used to have the free Duolingo, they'd have ads on there, and some of their ads were interactive, which I found to be kind of cool because you want to get through these ads, and then these ads you could actually play a game, which kind of enticed you to want to download the game if you liked it as well. So I found that to be kind of unique, something I hadn't seen anywhere else. But the article goes on to say that scaling challenges have emerged as adoption is broadened, which is tempering that near-term enthusiasm because the company's got to catch up with demand. Despite this, though, the Vector is viewed as structurally positive as Unity refines performance and scalability, Joseph. They also have this D28 product, which is a key upside lever, according to BTIG, but they're saying that it could attract a higher lifetime value, LTV, for developers in traditional mid-core categories. Some mixed analyst ratings, though. Wells Fargo raising the price target to 54. They cite strong Unity ad network momentum going to Q4. Freedom Capital Markets initiated coverage with a $52 buy rating. BofA Securities remains bearish with an $18 price target, flagging valuation concerns and elevated multiples versus peers, Joe.
Yeah, interesting stuff because we got a substantial haircut on Friday, Sharif.
Big time.
Yeah, it took a big time dive down, almost 30%, just like SLV. So I mean, if you go from that previous pivot high, 51.86, to where we're currently trading at, you're down 42%. And if you go to those lows, you hit that 50% mark. So it's not too good of a look here whatsoever. Obviously in Unity from a technical standpoint, and you have the necklines being broken as well. So keep an eye out on that. Don't try to catch the falling knife. Dabble if you do believe in the name, and once you head in towards some key zones, like this is going to be a really massive, I think, pivotal moment for Unity, is if you head into the supply once again in the lower 20s, then see how the price reacts, and maybe you'll get somewhat of a bounce there in Unity.
All right, Adair, what's your take on Unity?
To say, but before that, I do want to mention a couple catalysts. Lululemon on watch. Apparently on his Substack, Michael Burry announced that he's purchased Lululemon. So LULU, the latest Burry play, it looks like. CRML is on watch as well here. U.S. reportedly hosting a critical minerals ministerial meeting here on February 4th. So critical minerals meeting here on February 4th. Some of these critical minerals stocks getting a little bit of a bump. Nothing massive, though, which is why I held off on mentioning it. And what I want to talk about with Unity is why this dropped. Because like I don't have too much to say about this analyst note today. I think, I know it wasn't mentioned here in the notes, so I want to talk about why Unity dropped, because I think it is incredibly significant. Unity, Take-Two, and Roblox all sharply to the downside on Friday because people were talking about the new Google DeepMind Project Genie. Now, Project Genie is obviously AI related, and a lot of people are saying that that's going to be competition with some of these gaming, and that is the reason that we had this drop here in Unity, Roblox, Take-Two, etc. So I really want to mention that because I think, like, if you look at Roblox too, you can obviously see this drop as well. What's interesting was because we didn't actually have that DeepMind Project Genie launch on Friday. It launched on Thursday, about 24 hours before these stocks started dropping. But then you started to see the social media excitement really come in on these names on Thursday and Friday, and that's why we got the drops in those stocks. So again, I think it's really important to mention here the reason that we have this. Oh my gosh, what am I doing to my chart? The Unity, Roblox, Take-Two moves, regardless of these analyst notes here, the issue is going to be Project Genie here from DeepMind. Now, with that in mind, I don't even think an analyst note could save Unity at this point, because if your note is just, oh, well, we like these parts of the business, if there's an AI competitor taking them out, I think that's kind of a moot point regardless. If this AI does things better, people are really likely to go there. So I think nice try here for BTIG and from these other analysts, but I think given the nature of this catalyst, going to be a little bit tough here. Also, apparently, we have Wayfair pushing higher as, and I am not joking, Michael Burry speculating on his Substack that Ryan Cohen of GameStop CEO could buy Wayfair. Bizarre, I have to read more into that, but back to you.
All right, keeping an eye on KOLD, guys. This is at $21. It's at the day high, 54.5% inverse ETF for your or for nat gas is essentially. This could be an important level here, $21. Let's see if there is enough buys to push this one north. I did get out a little bit early, kind of lamenting that now. As this one did dip down, it did lose a 10 EMA, which is kind of why I got out there, but was quick to recover right back above that $0.50. So KOLD continuing to do well. right back into that high, guys. So keep your eye on this one. I think it's basically unbroken structure since we started out the morning. Yeah, these commodities are going to continue to trend and trend quite aggressively. This is the 5-minute chart on KOLD. So there is the 930 open, and we kind of double bottomed a little bit there at 950, 955, and then since that time it's been an unbroken, I should say, series of higher lows and higher highs. You know, with a couple of intervening drops below the 10 EMA, I'm talking about that 1115, 1120, but those were only wicks. Look how quickly it was able to recover above that green line. So KOLD, keep your eye on this one, Joey, into the afternoon, my man.
Yeah, good look there on KOLD, brother. We're all out of everything, guys. Like the TQQQ is right back towards the high of the day. I'm thinking about taking an additional move, but that might not be until 2:30, so I'm not going to complain about it whatsoever. This is going to be our only loss here on today's session. Heading over to the TQQQs, now SLV, that was our face stopper of the day. Katina Man in that one as well. Probably still sitting in a couple of reloads from my boy, most likely at some of these key pivot moments, but short from 73, get that move all the way down to 68.53. I was waiting for 68 to... I'm short 73. Oh, okay, you're short 72 now? All right, nice, brother. Oh, well, I'm not anymore. I'm all out of that one. So nice work there once again. Just going back-to-back jacks, essentially, for Katina, man. Going back to what worked from on Friday, working Monday morning, and I was thinking the exact same thing as silver's momentum to the downside, now 6%. Just kind of stuck in limbo right here, guys. It's $71.50 right there. Trading within that $1.50 range down to $70.50, 72 bucks. So not too bad. And then also TSLL kind of being our second best trade here. But we missed out on a big opportunity. No reload, no second engage. I wasn't worried about it because we were cooking up in silver. Apple breaking highs as well. Gorev says, yeah, let's take a look at AAPL. AAPL. Okay, yeah, Apple on the move here, Shree. So that's why you can't really short the Nasdaq right now, as Apple is now breaking through some key pivot highs. What the hell is this? Oh, that's the daily. Sorry. Yeah, new high of the day, 266 bucks there on AAPL.
Yeah, it's really going there, Joey.
Yeah.
Breaking through that 265 and 3/4 top. Yeah, there was a couple of analyst notes today on Apple. Evercore ISI maintaining coverage within outperform. Price target of 330. Not immediately apparent what the price target was. Let me just see if I can find it on a different article. It says 330 price target, but it doesn't tell me what they increased it from. B of A Securities with a coverage on, with maintaining Apple, maintaining their coverage on Apple with a buy rating and $325 price target as well. That came in earlier today. Just looking over here, yeah, Apple's really going.
Yeah,
here.
It's really going. Look at it drag the Nasdaq.
Apple call buyers, no, that's not something that. Patchwork, no, I'm just looking for more rating agencies to see what the situation is. We talked about Apple and their what's it called? India news. So they can bring in all these capital goods that would cost an arm and a leg and basically use them tax-free in India. That hadn't been the case before. They would have to pay tax, or their contractors like Tata and Foxconn would have to pay tax and obviously pass some of those costs on to Apple. So they're going to be operating in these tax-free zones in India, and the majority of the iPhones that are going to come in to the United States from India will be from those zones, so they won't be taxed. So good news from a margins perspective, at least for the iPhone, and that's not bad because we've seen the demand for the iPhone outsized, relative to the 16 and the 15, much to many people's chagrin. I know there's a lot of people that hate Apple out there, and it pleases me when it goes up against you guys. Quite frankly, absolutely. There's so many Apple haters out there. And the reason I'm involved in it is because it's that slow and steady one where I don't really have to be worrying about like Tesla, NVIDIA.
You collect the Divi as well, too.
The Divi, and it's like the largest position. Now ASML has become the largest position, second largest position, just by virtue of, price accretion. But I'm going to have to take care of that because that's never what I wanted. I never wanted ASML to be second largest, so we're going to have to trim that.
That's good, though. That means you some nice capital gain there, my friend.
Yeah, it's that and Caterpillar. Right. Both those two have to get trimmed because they've just become too large. All right, guys, It is 2 o'clock. Katina Man's locked. He's loaded. Neil stretching. He'll be locked and loaded momentarily.
Man, I'm sore as a donkey.
Did you do anything on the weekend?
Well, I've been hitting dips and pull-ups now.
There it is, bro. There it is.
There's no leg movement, so I may as well just go and just destroy dips and pull-ups, and my body is
My
aching,
man. Kill it. All right. Joey and I will be same bat time, same bat channel tomorrow, guys. I'll see everybody at the big desk tomorrow.
Have a good one, Jody.
Always talking about